The scene opens with a monster charging forward, seizing a young man's head. Its sharp claws tore into his flesh, leaving him trembling in fear, tears streaming down his face, unable to speak. The creatures surged forward, annihilating every human in their path. An army of undead-like beings rose, crushing and burning towering buildings, tearing apart innocent civilians, plunging them into utter terror. In another direction, two figures clashed fiercely. One wielded a razor-sharp sword, glaring at Damien and delivering a powerful slash. Damien, no less formidable, parried Eos's blow, the clash of their weapons resounding like thunder. After a prolonged battle, a massive explosion erupted. Eos's sword plunged into the ground. Brimming with vigor, he sighed in disbelief. True to his title as the Knight of Hell, this man was the mightiest swordsman of the AUS Empire, while the Demon King was none other than the Death Knight Damien. Damien took a direct hit to the head from Eos. His helmet split in two. The Death Knight clutched his face, driving his sword into the ground to steady himself. His glowing red eyes gradually turned deep blue. Regaining his senses, Damien stared in shock at the horrific reality, trembling and gasping. The surrounding scene was utterly tragic. The kingdom's flag lay torn to shreds. Dorgo appeared, laughing. Well done, excellent. I finally brought down this cursed empire with my own hands. As the ancients said, revenge is sweetest when long delayed. What I began 1,000 years ago has succeeded. Can you imagine my joy? His eerie voice and dark smile belonged to Dorgo. Seeing the Helios army decimated, King Howard roared in anguish. How dare you slaughter my people, you filthy demon? Isn't hell enough for you? Dorgo sneered, replying, How sweet. Is this a curse? Done talking? Now, let's begin my coronation. Howard trembled with rage, shouting, What nonsense is this? You, sit on the throne. Dorgo mocked. Ha ha, as the first to rule the entire continent, being called emperor feels a bit awkward. Howard shook with fury. Dorgo floated up, joining his allies and praising, Great work, my demon kings and death knight. Bring me the royal crown. A magnificent crown appeared, carried by his comrades. Dorgo laughed gleefully, floating toward the Death Knight Damien, saying, Oh, my most loyal knight, you played the greatest role in my rise. How should I reward such splendid devotion? Damien remained silent, head bowed, gazing at the shimmering crown. Dorgo stroked his chin, chuckling, What a foolish question. You're my slave, serving me is already your greatest reward. Before he finished, Dorgo sensed something amiss. Suddenly, the Death Knight shattered the crown and attacked. Dorgo's allies and followers froze in shock. Dorgo hurriedly summoned power, forming a shield, while the other knights quickly protected him. Clutching the wound on his chest, Dorgo roared, What are you doing? I'm shielded. How could you harm me? I never allowed this. The Death Knight declared, I can now move of my own will. He gazed coldly at Dorgo. Dorgo stammered, stunned. What? I erased your will. Damien replied, On the surface, yes, but I never fully vanished. Trapped in this body, I observed everything. Dorgo faltered. Huh? Really? You're my greatest masterpiece. For this achievement, I'll allow you this outburst, just this once, until I find a way to control you again. Dorgo's followers charged at Damien, but none could match his strength. Dorgo shielded himself, thinking his demon kings had been felled in a single blow. Finally, Dorgo summoned a horde of undead from the ground, piling up behind him. They rushed at Damien, but he stood unfazed, as if they were mere pests. He commanded, Stop. The undead halted instantly at his order. Damien said, Surrender, all of you. Wails of agony rang out. The undead fell easily before him. Dorgo, watching his entire force obliterated, trembled and frowned. This can't be. I created a monster to rival gods. Dorgo shouted, I get it, you're angry. So am I. Don't think you've won. If this body is destroyed, my soul will transfer to another and control you again. Damien replied coldly, While trapped, all I thought about was killing you. Dorgo gasped. What? Damien turned, an immense power surging. He said, To kill you, I created a technique to slash through souls. Dorgo panicked, fleeing. No such technique exists. Too dangerous, I must escape. But he couldn't block in time. A crescent-shaped slash tore through Dorgo's body. Dorgo, sweating, looked at the wound, laughing. Of course, no such technique exists. He opened his mouth, spewing something skyward, glowing with dark energy. A sharp object spiraled down. Dorgo froze in terror. An explosion like fireworks lit the sky. Dorgo's head fell to the ground, lifeless, a mere husk. The Death Knight stepped forward, saying coldly, "Go to hell." Then he crushed Dorgo's skull underfoot. Behind him, Howard witnessed it all, trembling, thinking, "What's happening?" Damien knelt, sighing, "It's finally over. I must apologize to them, even if it's in death. I need to tell my family I'm sorry." With that, Damien resolved to leave this cruel reality. In the silent night, a sound tore through the air. "Damien!" He startled, recognizing the voice. Louise Hassan smiled gently. "Damien, why are you sleeping out here?" Damien gazed at his sister's beautiful face, thinking, "Thank the heavens, I can see her before going to hell." He started, eyes wide. "Hey, why do you look so young?" Louise laughed softly. "Oh, getting sweet-talking now? Trying to butter me up before Dad scolds you? Come on, trust me, it's about to rain to get inside." As her figure faded, Damien stared after her, dazed. He muttered, "I definitely destroyed everything with my own hands." Looking at his body, he wondered, "Don't tell me this is a dream." He recalled Dorgo using him as an experiment, thinking, or was that the dream? Looking at the firewood before him, he said, "I'll find out soon." Damien grabbed the wood, aiming at a large rock, feeling its reality. He charged, eyes sharp, thrusting the stick into the stone. The wood shattered, and the rock cracked into pieces. Damien, stunned, eyes wide, couldn't believe it. Silent for a moment, he smirked gleefully. "This is insane." The rock lay shattered before him. Damien trembled, laughing joyfully. His smile grew, and he knelt, laughing in satisfaction. Clenching his fists, heavy rain poured down. Damien clutched his coat, containing his excitement. He cried, tears mingling with the rain. This isn't a dream. Damien had truly returned to the past. Damien could admit one thing. He possessed a certain talent. But right now, in the past, he was being berated relentlessly. "You've completely lost it," his father, Paul Haxon, roared without missing a beat, causing a ruckus in the tavern and getting thrown out. How much more must our family's honor be dragged through the mud? The talent Damien referred to was his knack for tarnishing the family's reputation. In that dark moment, his younger brother burst into the room, flinging the door open and shouting in panic, "Brother, why did you beat up the young master of Lionbloom?" The boy was at a loss for words to describe him. "Because of you, our sister, your sister, is being sent to the gates of hell to atone for your actions." His brother yelled in fury. "She's being dragged to that crude, vile man." This was Damien's talent, trampling his family's future. His mother, Marilda Haxon, suffered because of him too. She asked in anguish, "Damien, why did you use our ancestral land as collateral for a loan?" What? That, too, was a kind of talent, bringing the family estate to the brink of foreclosure. As a result, his father expelled him. "Get out." But before he left, a gentle voice called out, "Damien." His sister, Louise Haxon, handed him some money. "At least take this," she said, offering a tender smile. "Live happily, okay?" That smile filled Damien with shame, and he silently called out, "Sister." He was stunned that, after all he'd done, she still treated him so kindly, despite him ruining her life. His hands trembling, Damien snatched the money from her, then turned and fled. That day, he ran from home, escaping his entire family. It was then that Damien first understood guilt and shame. Sunlight bathed the green grass. Sitting dazed on the ground, he wondered how he could have returned to the past. He was reeling from the reality of this moment. "I wanted to apologize to my family, but have I really come back to the past?" Above, in the pitch-black sky, a ray of light pierced through the darkness. The light shone on Damien like hope rising at the edge of despair. He wondered, could this be divine grace? His hands shook, realizing even basic techniques were beyond him now. The basic technique he referred to was Shatter Strike, a skill that amplified strike force manifold. Damien had acquired this technique the day he fought a knight, sending him to his doom and claiming the skill after defeating the city breaker. While sitting in a daze, a frantic voice suddenly called out, "Young master." A chubby boy ran up, panting heavily. Damien looked at the boy, feeling a sense of familiarity, wondering, "He's a servant in our family. What's his name?" After a moment's thought, he tentatively said, "Victor?" Victor hurriedly exclaimed, "Yes, young master. Why are you still here? Lady Louise told you to come back. Why haven't you left?" "The Lord is furious." Damien asked, bewildered, "What did I do?" Seeing his cluelessness, Victor trembled. You're really asking because you don't know? Damien still acted oblivious. Moments later, at the Haxon Viscount's estate, in Damien's family mansion, an angry shout echoed. A sword swung straight at Damien's face. Luckily, he dodged, and the sword embedded itself in the ground. The one who swung was none other than his father, Paul Haxon. Enraged, he yelled, struggling against his wife and daughter's restraint. You've truly lost your mind, causing chaos in the tavern and getting kicked out. His mother, Marilda, tried to hold him back. Darling, calm down, Louise pleaded. Father, please stop. But he ignored them, roaring, how much more must our family be disgraced before you're satisfied? He continued, everyone let go. I said let go. Amid the chaos, Damien thought to himself, so I've returned to this moment. His father still wanted to beat him senseless. Today, I'll crush his skull. His mother and sister tried to intervene. No. Are you really going to kill Damien? Father, please think carefully. In the tense situation, Damien remained calm, wondering, when was the last time father scolded me like this? He looked at his mother, Marilda Haxon, and sister, Louise Haxon, silently calling, Mother, sister. His body trembled as he thought, how I've missed this feeling. A tear fell down Damien's face. His father, Paul, asked in confusion, is he crying? His mother, Marilda, replied with heartache, yes, because you were too harsh. Louise gently called, Damien. Paul, released, demanded sternly, what excuse do you have now? If you've got a mouth, speak. Damien replied calmly, none, sir. Paul, hearing this, was about to retort but exclaimed in surprise, what? Nothing. He asked suspiciously, no way a useless excuse-maker like you has nothing to say? Damien responded boldly, I admit it. Hearing you, I still feel heartbroken. I've sullied the Haxon Viscount's honor with my mistakes. It's all my fault, no excuses. Paul, thinking he was groveling, said, your tongue's still sharp. Think I'll let this slide. Before he could finish, Damien bowed solemnly, promising, I'll make amends. This left Paul stunned, exclaiming, what? Damien turned, preparing to leave, declaring, I'll fix what I've caused. He opened the door, smiling at his family, proclaiming, I'll accept my deserved punishment when I return. His strange words and actions left everyone in the house dumbfounded. Paul wondered worriedly, did he get hit too hard that day and lose his mind? Later, at the commercial city of Landwork, Victor nervously led Damien to the tavern, exclaiming, young master, we're here. He asked in panic, are you really going in? I heard they've got powerful backers. I'm afraid something bad will happen. Damien, unconcerned, approached the tavern but cautioned, if you're scared, head back. Victor shook his head, what? No way. If you're going, how could I run? But escaping together would be better. Knowing Victor's worry, Damien gave a reassuring smile, don't worry. If I sincerely apologize to the owner, what could go wrong? I'll earnestly make amends. Victor thought, if it goes smoothly, that'd be great. Damien stepped into the tavern, resolving, I don't know why I've returned to the past, but if the gods gave me a second chance, I swear I won't hurt them again. My talent for ruining my family's future, I swear it won't happen again. The two guards at the tavern's entrance spotted Damien. One asked irritably, hey, noble brat, why are you back? The other raised his weapon, growling, we warned you not to show your face again. Damien looked at them, feeling a vague familiarity but unable to recall. He said politely, I'd like to apologize to the owner for my previous actions. His words stunned the guards. Recovering, they sneered, apologizing out of nowhere? This guy's hilarious. I'll pass it to the boss. Acting all high and mighty as a noble. Quite the surprise. They began insulting him. Thought he was just a thug from a ruined family, but he's got some manners. Suddenly, they mentioned Louise. Heard his sister's a rare beauty. True. So there's still a fine piece in that house. One slapped Damien's face, saying, hey, young master, I'm suddenly inclined to accept your apology. If you introduce me to your pretty sister, I'll forgive you. The other mocked, look, he's gonna cry. Damien snatched the dagger from one's hand, saying, that'll be difficult. He twirled the dagger, adding, I thought I could do it, just apologize and leave. Seeing him play with the dagger, one shouted in panic, this bastard's gone mad. Put it away. But Damien said calmly, Seems I overestimated myself. As the other cursed, Damien swiftly sliced off his hand. What the hell are you doing? The man gasped, blood spurting, too shocked to process. Moments later, he felt the pain, collapsing and screaming. Damien said indifferently, "Want to see? Let me show you what the thuggish eldest son of the Haxon Viscount is really like." Like a demon, he declared coldly. Victor, watching from a corner, called out in worry, "Young master." He panicked. "I thought you came to make amends." A deafening scream shattered the tranquility. Nearby townsfolk gathered, whispering about a fight. "Let's go check it out." "Nah, stay out of it. You don't want to get involved." But Victor was the only one genuinely worried for Damien. Back at the uneven brawl, the remaining guard roared in fury. "You bastard. Do you know who we are?" Damien replied coolly, "I don't care who you are. Do whatever you want." The thug, enraged, flashed a tattoo and shouted threats. Pretty ridiculous, huh? But listen, no one messes with the Black Serpent and walks away unscathed. Seeing the tattoo, Damien instantly recognized them. That's right, I remember now. They were part of the Black Serpent, a criminal organization expanding its influence in land work. He recalled his past life, when he was useless, and this was one of the taverns they targeted when he complained about their sky-high prices. Back then, he'd protested the bill. "Hey, this bill's absurd. I'm not paying." The result was a punch to the face. They beat him mercilessly, mocking him in front of a crowd. Brutalized, he gave in, saying, "I'll pay, just stop." But now, Damien flashed a sinister smile, thinking, looking back, "I'm the one who deserves an apology, right?" His menacing grin puzzled the remaining guard. Why is he smiling? Unaware of his own limits, the thug challenged him. "I won't go easy just because you're a noble. Get ready." With that, he lunged at Damien. Effortlessly, Damien sidestepped, tripping the thug with his foot. As the man's face hurtled toward the ground, panic etched across it. Scared or not, he kissed the earth hard. Groaning from the impact, he heard Damien's cold voice. "Honestly, killing you all here wouldn't be enough." Damien grabbed his leg, his voice like a growl from hell. "But I'll hold back for my family." The thug, sensing what was coming, pleaded frantically. But before he could beg, Damien acted. Now, one man lay armless, another legless, writhing in agony on the ground. At that moment, an angry voice drew Damien's attention. "Who's that bastard?" He turned to see a group from the Black Serpent. More of them. The leader gritted his teeth, demanding, "He's from another gang. Where you from?" Realizing the misunderstanding, Damien clarified, "Not what you think. I came to apologize, but realized I'm the one owed an apology. I need to complain to the owner, so take me to him." The leader ignored him, itching to fight. "I don't know what nonsense you're spouting, but if you don't talk, we'll just beat you to a pulp." He ordered his men, "Grab him." Facing the swarm of lackeys, Damien sighed helplessly. More trouble. Exhaling, he dispatched the group in a flash, his steps halting swiftly. The horrific scene left the leader speechless with fear. His men lay groaning, clutching their limbs. Wiping sweat from his brow, Damien complained, "Damn it, I'm out of breath just from that." He asked, "Want to keep going?" The leader, terrified, stammered, "No, I'm sorry, if you spare them." He didn't want to fight, but Damien never said he'd let him go. A chase began. The leader, panicking as Damien closed in, ended up bloodied. Meanwhile, inside the tavern, everything seemed normal. Suddenly, a loud crash drew everyone's attention. The leader appeared at the door, face frozen, as a voice remarked, "Guess I went a bit overboard." Oddly, a dagger rested at his throat, yet he didn't react. Damien casually released the man's body, muttering, "That's why you should have listened when I was still calm." His actions triggered a chilling silence. Like a demon, he wiped blood from his face, glaring with murderous intent. As the crowd snapped out of it, they fled the tavern, screaming, "Run for your lives." Watching them scatter, Damien muttered, "Now the obstacles are gone." Just then, an irritated voice came from upstairs. "What's all this noise?" An old man with a striking beard appeared, grinding his teeth, demanding, "Where are the guards?" It was Anderson Holm, the tavern owner. Seeing him, Damien spoke, "You must be the owner. If you're talking about the guys outside, I took care of them." His words stunned Anderson, who gasped, "What?" Only then did he notice the lackey by the door. He thought nervously, "He took down Black Serpent members?" Anderson demanded Damien's identity. Who are you, causing this chaos at someone else's business? Damien replied calmly. Damien Haxon. Hearing the name, Anderson recognized it. Haxon, as in the Viscount's estate? Damien didn't shy away from confirming his identity and stated his purpose. Yes, I'm not here to cause trouble, just to get an apology from you. His words left Anderson confused, exclaiming, What are you talking about? Undeterred, Damien clarified, Your prices are outrageous. I complained, but your men beat me and threw me out. He recounted the harm he endured. And thanks to that, everyone thinks I'm a drunk troublemaker, especially one incident that left a wound I'll never forget. Because of it, my family and I lost so much. Anderson seemed dismissive. Lost? You mean honor? But as I see it, I'm too old to understand what you're on about. He mocked Damien's family. From what I know, the Haxon Viscount's house doesn't have any honor left to lose. This displeased Damien. Suddenly, Anderson slammed his cane, shouting, Foolish noble, you think I'll apologize just because you say so? Stop your cheap tricks and pay for this mess. Damien responded with a bloodthirsty smile, saying, I get it. I'll forgive you if you apologize. Stepping forward, he declared, But if that's how you want it, fine. Suddenly, he lunged at Anderson, ready to strike. You'll pay for what you said. I'll make you atone for your words. At that moment, another figure appeared, slashing at Damien with a fierce strike. Someone attacked with a powerful sword swing. But Damien, no pushover, easily blocked it, quickly recognizing the aura. Landing on the ground, he saw Anderson elated at his savior. Lord Ted, perfect timing. Damien stood, saying, Quite a surprise. He eyed the cloaked figure on the balcony, thinking, I didn't expect someone like you in a place like this. Coldly, he asked, So, tell me, why's a knight here? Indeed, the man Anderson called Ted was a knight, glaring at Damien with resentment. From what Damien knew, knights dedicated their lives to the path of martial arts. Knights were divided into 3 ranks, official knights, apprentice knights, and novices, categorized by skill level. Official knights were awe-inspiring figures in the eyes of the masses, capable of wielding aura freely, cleaving mountains with a single strike, or slicing through city walls like paper. They were transcendent beings. At this moment, Anderson laughed smugly, boasting, That's right, Ted here is an apprentice knight, practically the boss of the Black Serpent. You're done for. But Damien casually remarked, leaving Ted speechless, So, he's an apprentice knight? He explained why he sensed the man's energy. That must be why I felt that aura. Ted, hearing this, wondered in confusion, how could he sense it when I didn't reveal any aura? Suddenly, Damien added, But I think I understand why someone like you works here. His blunt words were enough to enrage anyone. Probably because you got kicked out as an apprentice knight for not being skilled enough to become an official knight. Anderson, oblivious to Ted's fury, asked eagerly, Sir, how much to take him out? In Ted's mind, the word apprentice burned, the 2 syllables that infuriated him most. Still, he gritted his teeth, suppressing his anger to answer Anderson. We'll talk about that later. With that, he leaped forward, charging at Damien and declaring, I'll rip that mouth of yours apart. His sword nearly struck Damien's face, but Damien stepped back lightly, dodging the blow. Naturally, Ted didn't stop there. He kept attacking, while Damien countered and assessed his skills. For an apprentice knight, he's decent. His movements are wild, but his attacks are sharp. Ted's eyes blazed with killing intent, and he swung a razor-sharp, ruthless strike. Damien knew his current limits. I'm nearing my limit. I can't push this body too far. I need to focus on building strength first. Seeing his relentless attacks miss, Ted roared in frustration, Bastard, let's see you dodge this. He channeled all his aura. Damien raised his defenses to the maximum. Ted unleashed a strike he called his secret technique. If the enemy was going this far, Damien wouldn't hold back either. Then I'll respond with a matching skill. A memory flashed in his mind. That day, he'd faced someone who cut through people like Tofu Dorgo. What kind of monster is that guy? If I kill all of humanity, there'll be no joy left in this world. The man he saw was the legendary assassin, master of the Dark Slayer sword. After slaughtering everyone there, the Dark Assassin turned to Damien, saying, So he dared point a sword at me and threaten me. Shut up and get out if you don't want to die. Damien responded with contemptuous silence. Seeing Damien's defiance, the unrepentant assassin smugly said, So you still don't get it. Guess I'll kill one more. His eyes locked onto Damien, his icy voice declaring. You want to die? I'll show you my secret technique. Confidently, he said, to me, the human body is mostly water. Once you reach this level, before finishing, the dark assassin struck Damien with his secret technique, Breath of the Dead, slicing him in half, then boasting, you can cut through a person even with a wooden sword like this. Thinking he'd sent Damien to his grave, he kept gloating. You should have run when I gave you the chance. But a stir behind him made him freeze. Shocked to see Damien regenerate, flesh knitting back together, the assassin shouted in panic, I cut you in half, how is this possible? Realizing something, he demanded, don't tell me you're immortal. Damien didn't answer, his eyes fixed solely on the assassin. Mimicking the assassin's earlier move, Damien struck back, leaving him horrified, managing only, what? Before dying, the assassin raged, how can you use my secret technique? Back in the present, Damien used the same copied technique on Ted, who could only cry, no, before collapsing, lifeless. Looking at the bloody scene, Damien thought calmly, as always, my enemies never know what killed them. After becoming the Death Knight, he'd gained an extraordinary ability. His ease in dispatching foes came from a skill that let him absorb their techniques and power, making them his own. Having dealt with this obstacle, Damien turned his gaze to Anderson. The old man flinched under his stare, trembling. Moments later, he fell to his knees, bowing fervently and pleading, forgive me for mocking you, great Lord Haxon. He glanced at the pile of glowing gold as compensation, asking, is this enough to atone for my mistake? Damien merely grunted, In his mind, he thought, I just wanted an apology, but I guess I'll take this compensation. Though he thought that, he said coldly, not quite enough, but it'll do for now. Turning to the door, he shouted, what are you doing? Come clean this up. He called for his loyal servant. Victor, hearing his call, poked his head out, replying politely, yes, young master. As he gathered the gold into his sack, he thought, if I hadn't seen it myself, I wouldn't believe it. Recalling the earlier fight, he wondered, since when did he learn swordsmanship? After collecting the compensation, Anderson and his men respectfully escorted Damien to the door. Safe travels, sir. Victor, carrying a heap of gold, looked at Damien with admiration, exclaiming, I've never seen so much money in my life. Anderson appeared respectful, but inwardly seethed. I'll find a way to take that money back from you. Those bastards, I'll talk to the Black Serpent's boss. But before he could finish the thought, Damien said, oh, right? He swiftly sliced off one of Anderson's ears. Using the Darkslayer's secret technique, he remarked casually, the money made me forget about the punishment. Anderson clutched his severed ear, screaming in pain. My ear. Before leaving, Damien warned the Black Serpent, touch a single hair on my family, and I won't spare your heads. Anderson, still clutching his wound, harbored deep resentment. You bastard, I won't let this slide. In the beautiful sunset, Damien and Victor calmly headed home. Damien realized, I know this act helps erase my past sins. In this new life, he vowed, I won't disappoint my family again. Smiling, he said, let's go home. Victor, the loyal servant, replied respectfully, yes, young master. The sunset remained warm and radiant. Later, at the Leon Bloom estate, a young man looked in the mirror, saying cryptically, brother, ever heard this saying? Love always brings pain. His older brother, confused, asked, what nonsense are you spouting? That serious face, you heading to a battlefield? The younger smirked, replying, no, with this less than handsome face, I'm off to find love. Morning at the Haxon Viscount's mansion, Damien strolled through the hallway, yawning as he went. Trailing behind was Victor, carrying his belongings. It's been a while since I had such a good sleep, Damien said. Victor replied, a hint of envy in his voice, I was so worried about yesterday I barely slept. An arm gone, 2 legs gone. Damien rolled his eyes, responding, didn't everything turn out fine? He added softly. True, things went a bit beyond my original plan, but we got a hefty reward, he continued. When someone messes with the eldest son of Viscount Haxon and gets crushed, no one will dare look down on our family anymore. More importantly, the rumors will spread fast. Damien shrugged. Not only that, the public's view of the Viscount's useless son will shift a bit. Victor looked at him, thinking, I didn't know before, but he's aware of his reputation now. Bowing slightly, Victor said, it all sounds good, but what worries me is the Black Serpent. You didn't just beat their men, you took down some hired apprentice knights too. Damien turned, saying, no matter how many there are, they wouldn't dare touch a noble. Even if they did, I'd stop them. Don't worry, Victor replied, "Yes, sir. Honestly, even I could tell your swordsmanship isn't ordinary." He asked, "By the way, young master, since when did you learn to use a sword like that?" Damien looked away, avoiding the question. "Oh, that? Just practiced a bit in my spare time." Suddenly, a shout grabbed his attention. Damien! Charging toward him was Paul Haxon, his father, who yelled furiously while running, "You little punk! Where were you all day yesterday?" Paul grabbed Damien's shoulders, shaking him. "Don't tell me you caused trouble again." From a distance, Marietta, his mother, spoke up. "Dear," she said. Damien smiled and turned to Victor. "Don't worry, father. Like I said, I've handled what I cost. Victor, show him." Victor emptied the sack he was carrying, revealing a dazzling pile of gold coins. The couple's eyes widened. "My goodness, money." Victor unrolled a document loudly. "This is the land deed, sir." Damien put his hands behind his back, saying, "I went to the tavern where I was kicked out to clear up the misunderstanding. Turns out, their calculations were wrong. The tavern owner gave me this compensation as an apology." Marietta, overwhelmed by the sight of so much money, collapsed. "With this, we can pay off the overdue wages." Paul Haxon, supporting his wife, turned to Damien, asking, "Is this real? Can I trust you?" Damien replied, "Of course, sir." Marietta added, "Dear, it must be true. How else would he get this money?" Damien glanced back. "If you don't believe me, ask Victor. He was with me." He winked at Victor. "Victor, I'm telling the truth, right?" Victor scratched his head, replying, "Yes, sir." Damien asked his father, "Do you believe me now?" Paul responded, Marietta sat up, saying, "It's real, dear." Smiling brightly, she told Damien, "I'm proud of you." Victor looked at Damien, thinking, "Young master, you're a habitual liar now, aren't you?" The scene shifts to a beautiful morning. Damien jogged, panting heavily. After a while, he stopped under a tree to catch his breath. Wiping sweat from his brow, he thought, "I'm out of breath from so little movement. This body's too slow and weak. I have so much to do, but I can't do anything in this state." He reached into his pocket, pulling out a purple vial. "Thank the heavens, I got this." Recalling earlier, he had asked about the vial. "What's this?" Anderson, kneeling, held his staff aloft, answering, "It's a supplement crafted by the Alchemy Academy. Boost strength and energy." Damien questioned, "Alchemy Academy?" Anderson replied, "Yes, they're a group of alchemists specializing in pharmaceuticals." Damien thought, "I remember now. Their potions were once traded for gemstone prices." Smirking, he thought, "I got lucky." Back in the present, Damien examined the potion in his hand. He uncorked it and drank. After finishing, power surged through his body. "This stuff's strong." He crushed the empty vial. "To get stronger quickly, I need to build my stamina first. I have to reach my past life's level, Dorgo. A few years from now, that damned immortal creature will appear in this world." Damien gritted his teeth, thinking, "Before then, I need the strength to kill him." His face brimmed with determination. Looking down at his home, he thought, "Only then can I protect my family's happiness." Exhaling, Damien resumed running. "This time, I'll definitely kill you." The scene shifts to night, where a tower stood out against the surroundings, looming ominously. The Black Serpent's base. Inside, Cedric bit into a chicken drumstick. "He's useless now," he said. "Our strongest hire, what a disgrace." His lackeys asked, "What do we do with Ted, boss? Should we heal him?" Cedric ordered coldly, "No, ditch him." One hesitated, "Is that okay, sir?" Cedric wiped his mouth, replying, "Yeah, dump him somewhere." He turned to leave. "He's no longer useful. With enough money, we can buy anyone." A voice interrupted, "Things have come to this." Cedric paused, turning with a mocking tone, "Oh, Ted, still got the strength to stand?" He sneered, "How about this? We'll treat you, maybe even hire you again." Ted, trembling, gripped his sword tightly, raging as he drew it and lunged at Cedric. "Die, you scum." Ted charged, but a dark energy coiled around his legs, quickly spreading across his body. He cried, "What?" From behind, a cloaked figure spoke, "Leader of the Black Serpent, can he be the first target of our contract?" Cedric replied, "Of course. Let's see what you can do." Ted collapsed, screaming, "Bastard, let me go." The mage began chanting, and the dark energy exploded across Ted's body. Monstrous creatures with gaping mouths appeared around him. "What the hell?" One beast opened its maw before Ted. He begged, trembling, "Spare me." The ravenous mouths lunged, tearing into his body. Ted screamed in despair as his legs were severed, falling to the ground. Cedric covered his nose. Disgusting. The mage approached, asking, satisfied? Cedric grunted, yeah, but make it cleaner next time. The mage clasped his hands. Understood. What's the next contract? Cedric said, that's why I called you. Someone's interfering with our organization, a noble, so dealing with him directly is tricky. His voice dripped with menace. Just make him suffer in other ways. The more pain, the more you're paid. Cedric handed the mage a sack of coins. Your advance. The mage replied, thank you, sir. Smirking, he said, leave it to me. Damien was training, his body drenched in sweat as he repeatedly lifted a heavy barbell over his shoulders with both hands. After finishing, he lowered the barbell to the ground, massaging his arm muscles. That supplement really works wonders. Over the past few days, his stamina had improved significantly. Damien reached for his water bottle, but something felt off. He glanced at the sky, where 2 birds flew by. Nothing's happened these past few days. I thought the black serpent would come after me by now. Suddenly, he noticed something. The bushes nearby rustled. Just as I thought. Damien reached out, growling, those damn black serpent bastards. He yanked someone from the bushes with a menacing expression. Moments later, he recognized the figure. Abel, he exclaimed. Abel, struggling to breathe, said to his brother, in the time I was gone, you've gotten a lot stronger, huh? I thought you were going to snap my neck. Looking at the person before him, Damien recalled a scene from his past life, his brother's death. He sighed deeply, then reached out to help Abel up. I didn't mean it. I'm sorry. Abel stared at Damien, then turned away. I didn't come here for your apologies. Adjusting his glasses, he continued. Father told me you got an apology from the tavern owner, but I heard there was a brawl and a lot of people got hurt. He looked at his brother, saying, no way you'd do that. Are you still lying to the family? Damien smiled and said frankly, no, it's true. I did it. Abel jumped up, lunging at him. You don't even know how to fight. Did you hire someone? Damien replied calmly, I did it myself. Abel didn't believe him. Don't lie to me. I can fool others, but I'd never fool you. Abel pointed at his face. Either way, stop doing things that hurt our family's reputation. Do you know how much we've had to clean up after your messes? At his brother's words, Damien gently patted his head. Abel, Damien thought, he's right. He's always been meticulous and wants the best for our family. All right, Abel grumbled, trying to push his hand away. Let go. What are you doing? Why's your hand so hard? Damien laughed. Don't worry, there won't be any more trouble. Suddenly, a voice interrupted. Young masters. Victor ran up, shouting, bad news, bad news. The brothers paused, then rushed into the house. Damien flung open the living room door with urgency. Inside, their parents were speaking with Erwin. Paul Haxon saw him and asked, Damien, you're here? Erwin set down his teacup, saying, you've arrived. Smiling, he looked at Damien. I was just telling the Viscount about what happened at the banquet last time. Sorry for showing up unannounced. I couldn't do much since my father found out about it. Damien frowned, thinking, oh no, I don't remember exactly, but it seems I did something wrong to him. Erwin said slyly, you remember what happened clearly, don't you? The scene shifts to the past, where Damien exclaimed in shock. What did you say? He and Erwin stepped aside to talk. Erwin said, I didn't mean it that way. Sorry if I offended you. Damien didn't back down. What? Didn't mean it? Drunk and furious, he slammed a bottle on the table. You didn't just offend me, you insulted my sister's honor. How's that unintentional? Owen smirked. You're a bit drunk. I didn't say anything. He leaned close to Damien's ear, who could only mutter, what? Erwin taunted. So what? What if I did say it? The foolish Damien, enraged, thought, I shouldn't have fallen for his provocation. He swung, punching Erwin's face, sending him flying 10 meters. As he was hit, Erwin gave a smug smile. Back in the present, Damien looked at him, thinking, it's already odd that I, a nobody, beat someone about to become a knight. What does he want? Owen smirked. So, what should we do now? It's a bit embarrassing, but I've always admired Lady Louise. Paul Haxon asked, what do you mean? Owen said, please approve. With a villainous smile, he added, a marriage between me and Louise. His words stunned the Haxons. Abel and Damien were equally shocked. Damien's face darkened. He's at it again. In my past life, he did this too, exploiting our family's weakness for his gain. Shamelessly, Erwin continued, if we do this, it'll just be a small family matter. We can pretend nothing happened. Paul Haxon bowed his head, refusing. We can't do that. His response made Erwin scowl. Paul continued, Louise is already betrothed. Owen interrupted, what about the insult I endured? Can the Haxon family really handle my family's wrath? His tone turned threatening. Choose. Pay for insulting me, or marry Louise to me. Paul thought, Lion Bloom is one of the kingdom's most powerful families, but I can't let this notorious lecher marry my daughter. A voice rang out. Fine. Louise entered the living room, saying clearly, I accept. Paul shouted, Louise, what do you mean? Wait, we'll find another way. Abel protested, exactly. Why should you pay for his mistakes? Damien bowed his head in shame. Louise smiled gently, saying, it's okay. I'll go with Lord Erwin. Damien blamed himself. Once again, she has to. Owen smirked, satisfied. That's more like it. He stood. Lady Louise, you're wise. He slung his sword over his hip, approaching her. I'll send a formal proposal soon, and we'll discuss further. But Damien glared, blocking Erwin. Owen smirked, patting his shoulder. Damien, got something to say? Or should I call you brother-in-law now? Damien thought angrily, you vile fraud. You ruined my sister's life once, and you're trying again. Louise covered her mouth, softly calling Damien. Owen sneered. Damien said, what did you say? With that, he punched Erwin square in the face. I didn't hear a thing. Damien sent Erwin flying, thinking, I shouldn't have fallen for his trap for my sister and family. Erwin crashed to the floor. Damien declared sternly, no way, you filthy dog, it's not happening. Recalling his past life, Damien hurriedly dashed forward. A maid said to him, young master, Lady Louise and Lord Erwin's carriage has arrived. The butler added, it's been a while since they visited this place. Hearing this, Damien raced to the door. Sister, how long has it been? He gently opened the door. Sister, I've missed you so much. But the sight before him left Damien stunned. His sister was being beaten by Erwin, who grabbed her hair. You keep whining, so I brought you back home. But what now, huh? He yanked her head up, cursing. You, sold to me by a rotten family. Dare say you'll leave me? Then, Erwin flung her to the floor. My love, Louise. He put on gloves, threatening her. I'll teach you properly so you'll never say that again. Erwin clenched his fist and pummeled Louise in front of Damien. Damien froze in place, collapsing to his knees. It's my fault. Because of me, Louise was married off. He glared at Erwin with hatred. Erwin Lion Bloom, you filthy dog, I'll never forgive you. Ending the flashback, Damien raised his fist, shouting, bad luck for you, bastard. Erwin lay motionless on the floor. Everyone around stood stunned for a few seconds. Erwin's guards rushed in. What was that? Seeing Erwin's sorry state, a guard shouted, second young master. The guard turned. Is this the guy who attacked our master? Damien looked at them, thinking, they're Erwin's escort guards. He burst into laughter. Erwin staggered to his feet. You dare. He drew his sword, hitting my face not once, but twice. Paul and Marilda Haxon were horrified by the scene. Erwin pointed his sword at Damien. You must really want to die, brother-in-law. A guard stepped in front of Erwin, saying, please calm down, young master. We'll handle this properly. With many eyes watching, Erwin gritted his teeth. Move. The guard tried to dissuade him. No, second young master. Dealing with such an insolent punk, Erwin struck, sending the guard flying out of the room. He roared, I said move. Abel watched in fear. Erwin slowly approached Damien. Damien Haxon, I'll ask again. Will you resolve this situation? Louise bit her lip, thinking, no, Erwin won't spare Damien. She spoke up, please stop. But Damien raised his hand to stop her. Turning to her, he said, it's okay, Sister Louise, I'll handle it. He thought, don't sacrifice yourself for me. Damien challenged Erwin. Let's fight. Erwin asked skeptically, what? A duel. Damien said calmly. If you win this sword fight, I'll do as you wish. But if I win, you forget everything up to this moment. Erwin questioned, why should I? Those terms don't benefit me. As I recall, Lady Louise already agreed. Damien provoked him. Why twist the truth? Are you scared of losing to me? Erwin's face reddened with rage, veins bulging. This arrogant bastard dares act like he can beat me after landing a cheap shot. I was wondering how to pay him back, but this works. Confidently, he pointed his sword at Damien. I'll use this to cripple you and take your sister. Fine, I accept your challenge. The setting sun bathed the family's mansion. Marilda clutched her husband's hand. Darling, shouldn't we stop them? Paul rubbed his head heavily, saying, Damien spoke so confidently, so he must have a plan. If not, we can only hope for a miracle. Abel thought differently. Father, you're wrong. Don't rely on miracles. Erwin Lion Bloom. His swordsmanship is likely at the official knight level now. How can Damien beat him? Outside in the courtyard, Erwin spoke first. Let's begin. But how will you fight me without a sword? Damien flexed his wrist, saying, Don't worry. He picked up a fork, confidently stating, This will do. His action stunned Erwin. A fork. The onlookers were speechless. Is this kid insane, son? Erwin burst out laughing, glaring at Damien. Guess you're so scared you've lost your mind. He charged, sword raised. I won't go easy on you. As Erwin slashed, Damien stepped back, dodging. Erwin thought he dodged. Gripping his sword tightly, he said, If that's how it is, and unleashed a flurry of strikes. Erwin launched his technique, Lion's Roar sword, charging at Damien. Damien countered, their clash leaving a circular trench in the ground. Damien took a stance, pointing the fork forward and exhaling sharply. Erwin's guard wondered, How's he unscathed? What's going on? Erwin, shocked, thought. In that brief moment, he dodged all the basic moves of Lion's Roar sword. Damien wiped his sweat, thinking he's rattled. Thanks to my training these past days, I've perfectly analyzed the Lion Bloom family's swordsmanship. He recalled his past life. Michael Lion Bloom. Before I regressed, I fought his older brother. Damien steadied himself, looking at Erwin. He's much weaker than him. Suddenly, he noticed something. Erwin was gathering energy for another attack. You only dodge by luck, but let's see you dodge this. Damien thought, It's aura. This'll be tough to evade. What now? Erwin charged, leaping high to strike down. Damien calculated. In this situation, the Saint's sword technique is my best bet. Their clash created a powerful sonic shockwave. Abel and Louise gasped. Erwin's sword got caught in the fork's tines. He exclaimed helplessly, What? Damien used the fork to force the sword down, then flicked it away. Secret technique, Myriad Flow Slayer. Erwin was stunned. Seizing the moment, Damien pointed the fork at his throat. Goodbye. Louise and Abel's eyes widened. Paul and Marilda Haxon were horrified by the scene. A guard shouted, Second young master. Damien showed restraint, letting the fork only graze Erwin's neck slightly. Erwin fell to the ground, screaming in terror. Damien pursed his lips, holding back. Even killing you 10,000 times wouldn't make up for what you've done. But for his family's safety, he spoke. So I'll forgive you this time. Well, the winner's clear. No need to discuss anything further, right? Erwin looked at Damien in fear, while Damien said coldly, Now, as you promised. Staring him down, he commanded, Get lost. The scene shifts to the next day, with the family dining together. Damien set down his knife and fork, saying politely, Thank you for the meal. He stood to leave the table. I'm off to morning training. Paul Haxon watched his son exit, and the family continued eating. Marilda turned to her husband, saying, Darling, aren't you going to ask Damien? About yesterday. Paul hesitated. Abel spoke in a low voice. I still can't believe that's my brother. The guy who was weaker than weak suddenly became strong enough to easily defeat Erwin Lion Bloom. It's like he became a completely different person overnight. Marilda whispered to Paul. Abel seemed shocked. You should ask about. Paul interrupted. Stop. We shouldn't force him to answer. He'll tell us when the time comes. She said softly, Dear. Louise turned to her brother. Abel, calm down. Paul pursed his lips, thinking, I'm dying of curiosity too. Holding a fork, Paul Haxon trembled. Something tells me not to ask him about it. He's my son, but he's terrifying. Outside the dining room, Damien was lacing up his shoes, adding 10 kilograms sandbags to them for endurance training. As he headed out, Louise called, Damien. He responded, Sister. Holding a sword, she said, Good, you're still here. Louise bowed her head. Damien realized, Right, I should apologize to her. He bowed deeply, saying sincerely, I'm so sorry, sister. I acted rashly and put everyone in a tough spot. Closing his eyes, he added, I should have apologized yesterday. I promise it won't happen again. She quickly interrupted, No, that's not it. Louise gently placed her hand on his shoulder, saying softly, Thank you. Her eyes welled up, on the verge of tears. You know, I was so scared back then. I said I'd go with Erwin, but my heart didn't want it at all. Damien looked at her. Sister, so that's what you've always felt. Louise continued. But Damien. She recalled what he did to protect her. You stood up for me. I felt both guilty and relieved, so I wanted to tell you this. Wiping a tear from her eye, she said, Thank you, Damien. He snapped out of his thoughts. Smiling, Damien replied, I'm the one who should say that. He said gently, Thank you for everything, sister. Louise looked at him curiously as he turned away. It's nothing, I'm off. She called after him. Oh, Damien. Handing him the sword, she said, Take this. He responded, That's, continuing, he said, Father's most treasured possession, right? Louise smiled. Father told me to give this to you for training. He took the sword, asking, For me? Louise said, Father's not good at expressing himself, but he loves you dearly. He also told me to tell you this. Mimicking their father's stern tone, she said, You come from a Viscount's family, so don't ever use a fork instead of a sword again. Damien thought, I can see father in her face. He drew the sword, raising it to inspect the blade. Thank you, father. Paul Haxon, polishing a sword, suddenly sneezed. He wondered, Who's talking about me? Night fell, and at the mansion's entrance, a dark energy crept toward the estate. A curly-haired guard yawned, while his straight-haired partner scolded, Stop yawning. The dark energy coiled around the guard's feet, creeping up to their faces. Moments later, both collapsed at the gate. The gate opened, and a cloaked mage approached casually, stepping into the mansion. He staggered through a lit room, then moved to another, opening its door. First was Abel's room, then Paul and Marilda's. He opened the next door, Louise's room. Standing over her, he licked his lips perversely. Quite the beauty, huh? The mage raised his hand. I came for the Black Serpent's request, but I didn't expect such a bonus. A voice sounded from behind. Damien leaned against the door, glaring at him. What are you doing? Damien turned, saying, I came here because I sensed a strange energy. Looks like there's a suspicious character around. The mage gritted his teeth in frustration. My magic should have put everyone to sleep. How is he unaffected? I didn't even sense his presence until he was this close. Taking a risk, the mage turned and attacked, launching a blow at Damien. Damien swiftly dodged, leaping aside. The mage, enraged, shouted, Damn it, who the hell are you? Damien took a stance, ready to draw his sword. That's my line. Do you know whose house this is? The mage asked skeptically, Could you be Damien Haxon? Damien replied, That's right. Pointing his sword at the mage, he demanded sharply, Now, tell me, who are you, and what were you doing to my sister? Suddenly, a voice came from outside. What's that noise? It came from Lady Louise's room. Dogs barked, and the mage panicked as he realized someone had noticed him. Looks like the servants were woken by that explosion. He used a retreat spell. Too many people here, it's disadvantageous. With no other choice, he transformed into a stream of dark energy and escaped through the window. Damien shouted, Stop right there. He chased after, but the mage used a cloaking spell, evading capture. Damien watched him flee the mansion. Looking down, he muttered, He got away? Then he noticed something. Peering through the window crack, he saw a trace of dark energy lingering. This energy. The next morning, someone shouted, Oh no. A servant panicked. What do we do? The prized horse is dead. How do we explain this to the Viscount? He'll be furious. The servants exchanged worried glances. This is a disaster. It was perfectly fine yesterday. How did this happen? I don't know what's going on either, and I'm just as upset. Damien appeared behind them. I have a bad feeling. They stammered, Young master, he patted their shoulders. No need to panic. I'm just here to confirm something. I won't blame anyone. Smiling, he said, Just let me borrow this room for a bit. The servant replied, Yes, sir. Damien touched the horse's body, sensing the dark energy. So, the trace of that energy I lost last night led me to the stables, where a horse is dead. There was no doubt, this vile energy was dark mana, dark magic. That means he's a dark mage. Looks like my family doesn't know about this yet. No need to worry them. He turned, looking outside, trying to trace the dark energy. The trail led beyond the mansion. In a forest cave, the mage laughed, conducting experiments. Holding a vial, he gloated, That Black Serpent leader, or whatever, is such an idiot. He actually gathered everything I asked for. He thought, I said it was for a curse, but that was a lie. With these materials, I won't lack supplies for experiments anytime soon. Looking up, he muttered, still, I've really fallen far. To think I'm taking low-life jobs for pocket change. He thought, but with the church hunting me, I have no choice. He resumed his experiment, unaware someone was watching. I'll lay low for a while. A voice startled him. It stinks in here. Damien had tracked him to his lair. Living like a hermit at your age? Why not open a window for some fresh air? The mage stammered. You are. In horror, he exclaimed, you're the Viscount's eldest son, the one from yesterday. Panicking, he asked, how did you find this place? Damien replied, I followed the stench you left behind. The mage gasped. What? He said, I heard rumors you were foolish enough to challenge the Black Serpent, but you're no ordinary reckless kid. Damien confronted him. Good thing I stayed vigilant. You're the one the Black Serpent hired, right? The mage answered, yes, they wanted me to inflict as much damage on your family as possible. Damien said coldly, pathetic, taking a job like that only to die for it. The mage cried out in panic. What? Desperately, he cast a spell. You're interesting. If I capture and torture you, you'd make a fine pet for my amusement. Damien took a stance, drawing his sword. Too bad that won't happen. You know, I promised myself in this life not to kill unless absolutely necessary. Glaring at him, he added, and the exception is filthy dark mages like you. The mage looked at him, saying, you know about that too? You're not some average fool. Summoning a magic circle, he attacked Damien. If you escape, I'll be in trouble, so die. A barrage of attacks came, but Damien dodged them all. Closing in, he struck the mage. The mage coughed, eyes widening as he cast another spell, merging with the dark energy. Damien frowned. His body's regenerating. Is this the ability I saw at the mansion? He thought, for such a lowly job, he's stronger than I expected. The mage mocked, that attack was nothing to me. Damien glared. Then I'll cut you until there's nothing left. He unleashed a flurry of stabs at the mage, who exclaimed, not bad. Your recent reputation isn't for nothing, but still. The mage's next words stunned Damien. The moment you stepped in here, you were already dead. Demons with massive jaws appeared around Damien, roaring and lunging at him. I've set magic traps everywhere to counter the church's pursuit. Damien looked at the demons, thinking, this is getting dangerous. The mage boasted, you'll regret opposing a high-ranking member of Yulin. Dark energy engulfed Damien. Your body will rot and die. The dark mage laughed maniacally, threatening, you'll regret opposing a high-ranking member of Yulon. His dark aura spread, enveloping and constricting Damien as if to crush him. The mage sneered with delight. Arrogant brat, shortening your own life. Cedric, the Black Serpent leader, appeared behind him, grinning wickedly, and said, the more damage you cause, the greater the reward. He thought, this qualifies nicely. Excited, he muttered, now no one's in my way. Time to hunt that woman I saw yesterday. Suddenly, Damien spoke. A decay curse? Hearing Damien's voice, the mage froze, stammering in disbelief. You, he shouted. How are you unaffected? Damien had emerged from the spell unscathed. The mage, trembling with fear, demanded, how much do you know about dark magic? Damien didn't answer, instead taunting, guess. Outwardly calm, he was inwardly anxious. He's really shaken. And so am I. Looking at the mark on his hand, he thought, why do I still have this power? Dorgo's maniacal laugh echoed in his memory, declaring, this is divine power, or so-called God's strength. Noticing something, Dorgo turned, saying, my death knight. He said, I gave you the strongest body and infused you with the most powerful magic. But I'm still not satisfied. You must become the ultimate sword and embodiment of evil I possess. Holding a dagger, he cut his palm, using his blood to empower the other. I'll grant you this power to make you the ultimate weapon. Dorgo laughed in satisfaction as a blinding light appeared. Awestruck, he said, this is divine power. Activating his mana, the dark energy enveloped the Death Knight. He marveled, what terrifying strength. The knight's body transformed, consumed by dark power. Dorgo exclaimed, finally, I've obtained it. The knight has fully transformed with divine power. Damien looked at the mark on his hand, certain. No doubt about it. This is the power of greed, the strength I wielded as a Death Knight. I thought I lost it when I regressed, but it's back. A sudden attack caught him off guard, but he dodged just in time. The mage, unwilling to accept defeat, demanded, answer me. how did you survive my curse? Damien said casually. Doesn't everyone have a trump card or two? He recalled. He said he's a high-ranking Yulon member, right? I've heard of Yulon, a group specializing in assassinations using dark magic. No wonder he's so strong. The mage scoffed. Trump card. Damien eyed him warily, calculating. Something's off about him. The longer this drags, the worse it gets. I need to end this fast. The mage continued. I was saving this for the church, but looks like I'll use it now. Damien thought. You have a trump card too? The mage's bracelet glowed, and objects around them levitated. He tensed, his eyes changing. Damien observed, surprised. That's a lot of dark mana. Noticing the bracelet, he thought, it must store and conceal mana. The mage roared, and a monstrous face with countless eyes and fangs appeared behind him. No matter how you broke my magic, you can't withstand this power. The mage shouted, launching a relentless assault. Burn and die in eternal hell. Attacks rained down, but seeing no response, he assumed Damien was dead, gleefully thinking. It's over. He's been incinerated by hellfire, burning eternally even in death. But from the smoke, Damien emerged, saying, You've misunderstood something critical. The mage panicked, thinking, the flames. Damien continued, The power of greed doesn't negate magic. He stood unscathed, as if no fight had occurred. A radiant aura of power enveloped him. Looking up with sharp eyes, he declared, It absorbs all dark magic. The mage stammered, speechless, unable to believe his ears. Divine power? How does someone like you wield such terrifying strength? Damien readied an attack, saying, None of your business. Just think of it as me having better gear. Gritting his teeth, he thought irritably, It's infuriating to use the power granted by the one I hate most. But to defeat this guy, I have no choice but to use my Death Knight skills. The mage, shocked, thought, That's aura. That's a sword technique only master swordsmen can wield. How can he do this? The mage shouted, Wait. But Damien ignored him, striking directly. Soul-severing sword. The mage screamed in agony, his cry echoing through the sky. The surrounding scene lay in ruins, with the mage pinned under rubble. Damien pointed his sword at his head, saying, Tell me before you die, and I'll ease your pain. Exuding a chilling aura, he threatened, Spill the Black Serpent's hideout, now. At the commercial city of Landwork, Victor asked, Young master, what now? Why are you so set on returning to Landwork? Damien, eyes on a book, smiled and replied, My most loyal friend, Victor, if you really want to follow me, please keep quiet. Victor muttered, Your face looks relaxed, but the face in that book you're reading doesn't. Glancing at the book curiously, he asked, What are you so focused on reading? Damien answered, This is a dark magic grimoire I just acquired. After killing that dark mage, Victor recalled the previous day, crossing his arms and saying smugly, I may be an illiterate fool, but I know a thing or two. Dark magic grimoires are extremely dangerous and hard to master. Suddenly, he wrinkled his nose at a foul smell. What's that stench? Both had been looking out the windows since earlier. We're here, Damien said, stepping onto the street and handing Victor a bag. Victor, I need you to do something for me. Victor looked at the bag, confused, asking, What is it? Damien said, Listen carefully, Victor. It's a head. Victor fell silent, staring at the bag in shock. Thinking Damien was joking, Victor opened the bag and looked inside. Young master, listen, no matter how dumb I am, this kind of prank, a single eye from the head stared back, reflecting Victor's face. He screamed, throwing the bag, but Damien caught it. Sweating profusely, Victor stammered, Why, young master? Damien, worried about drawing attention, signaled him to hush. Quiet. People are watching. Victor asked, What is that? Damien replied, I'll explain later. First, you need to do a few things for me. Handing over the bag and a small notebook, he instructed, Just deliver these to the place I specify, and there won't be any trouble. At a castle, Damien couldn't help but marvel at it. Standing before some thugs, he taunted, You filthy gangsters, daring to build your headquarters right in the city center like this. Easy to find. A tall thug snapped, You damn dog. A one-eyed thug asked, Who are you? Damien introduced himself, I'm Damien Haxon, from the Haxon Viscount's estate. The two mocked him. Haxon? Sounds like pig's feet, or garbage. The one-eyed thug recalled something, saying, Wait, that name sounds like the one the boss mentioned. Damien spoke up. So you know who I am? I have business with your leader, so step aside quietly. The one-eyed thug pointed the way. Oh, really? Straight ahead. Damien asked, surprised. You don't even need to hear my reason? One thug pulled out a gun, firing a shot into the sky as a threat. Damien followed the signal flare's trajectory. The one-eyed thug sneered, you thought we'd just say that? Suddenly, cloaked figures in black rushed in. Damien asked, what did you just do? The thug replied, what else? They're surrounding you. This is the gift our boss prepared for you. Damien smirked disdainfully. I'll warn you now, don't regret this. The governor was drinking, flanked by beautiful women, with fragrant wine and delicacies on the table. Thanks to Cedric, I'm in high spirits today. Robert, drunk? Slurred, one more glass. Cedric flattered, it's my honor to see you both enjoying yourselves. Sebastian, pleased, said, is that so? Cedric replied, absolutely. I'm grateful you came. Sebastian, sloshed, said, Cedric, about the commercial spots other organizations have, I think the Black Serpent could take them over. Cedric, intrigued, asked, really? Sebastian confirmed, yes, the red light district could be fully under Black Serpent control. Cedric, thrilled but cautious, asked, that's great news, but what if others object? Sebastian boasted arrogantly, I have the power, those guys are no issue. Robert, drunk, said, sorry, wish I could do more for you. Cedric flattered again, Lord Robert, protecting the city is already a great deed. Pretending to be considerate, Cedric added, maintaining security in a big city like Landwork isn't easy. I know you're being modest, but no need to downplay it. Sebastian laughed, pleased, is that so? Holding the women, he played the protector, saying, if you need anything, just tell us. We'll help within our authority. The women beside him flattered, the governor's so cool, have another drink. Cedric bowed respectfully, thank you both very much. Outwardly polite, he cursed them inwardly, scheming. I'm sick of bowing to these scum. Soon, the Black Serpent will take over this city. Then they'll be the ones bowing to me. A thug burst in, shouting, boss. Cedric turned angrily, snapping, I'm with guests, can't you see? The thug stammered apologies, I'm so sorry, but there's urgent news. Cedric stepped out, asking, what is it? The thug whispered the details. Cedric roared, what? Damien Haxon? Furious, he gritted his teeth, worrying inwardly. What's the dark mage plotting? Good thing I prepared my men in advance. He said, I understand. Go. But the thug hesitated. Sir, is it okay to leave him like that? Cedric countered, what are you worried about? The thug replied, he's seeking his own death, but it's chaotic outside. Even if things don't go as planned, I know some guys who owe me favors, so why worry? Cedric stared outside in horror. From the tower's balcony, he was stunned. I came out here because of a bad feeling. Below, Damien single-handedly took down all his men. How could this happen? Damien confidently raised his sword. That kid handled them all by himself? Cedric's eyes widened as he asked a lackey nearby. Did that kid really say he's Damien Haxon? The terrified lackey replied, why yes, sir. He said so himself. Cedric thought, damn it. Rumors said he was just the useless son of a viscount, but he's this skilled? His face darkened. So even the dark mage I sent was taken out? He immediately turned to flee. This is bad. I need to call for help. The lackey shouted, sir. Atop the tower, a mage aimed his staff at Damien. Seeing it, Damien wondered, is that thing powered by magic? The mage yelled, monster, let's see you block this. He unleashed countless fireballs. The mage swung his staff, attacking Damien. Raising his sword, Damien met the assault. The mage laughed gleefully. Fool, you think you can block our flames with just that sword? Damien's sword sliced through the fire, effortlessly controlling it. Secret technique, Myriad Flow Slayer. He redirected the flames back at the enemy. The mage gasped, what? The flames struck the mages on the rooftop, causing a massive explosion. The mages were decimated. Damien said calmly, guess I'm done here. He added, now it's time to find out who the Black Serpent's leader really is. Suddenly, Damien sensed a fist coming at his face. He dodged to the side, escaping. The attacker was Robert, whose missed punch slammed into the ground. Damien landed, crouching. Wiping his face, he thought. His aura was so sharp it felt like needles. The attacker emerged from the lingering smoke, saying, I wondered what bastard was causing all this trouble. Damien thought, with this kind of presence. The figure stood with exceptional skill. Seems like an overconfident kid. Damien assessed, He's definitely an official knight. Curious city folk watched. Damien scanned the surroundings. Knights and city guards are here too? Sebastian appeared, shouting, "How dare you cause this chaos in the city center?" Hands behind his back, he bellowed, "I, Sebastian Baker, governor of Landwork, will ensure you're punished accordingly." Damien muttered, "Oh, a big shot?" He asked, "You'll punish me? For what?" Sebastian roared, "What's this nonsense? Don't you know the mess you've caused?" He grimaced, feigning distress. "You dared attack the life of Mr. Cedric, an honest merchant, assaulted his company, and slaughtered dozens of innocent employees." A curly-haired bystander mocked. "Since when is that thug a merchant?" "Hilarious." A blonde bystander whispered, "Shoo, he'll hear you." Sebastian fumed. "Absolutely unforgivable." Cedric smirked, pleased. "What now? No matter how ruthless you are, you can't touch someone under the governor's protection." Damien ignored him, beckoning Cedric. "So you're the Black Serpent's leader. Finally found you. Come here so I can knock some sense into you." Cedric scowled. "This insolent brat." Damien sneered disdainfully. "I knew the Black Serpent was tied to the city's authorities, but this is next-level stupidity. You're quite the comedian, Governor. Calling that scum an honest merchant? Your judgment's laughably bad." Provoked, Sebastian threatened him. "What? Shut up," Sebastian said. "If you beg for mercy now, I might lighten your punishment." Damien shrugged. "If I did nothing wrong, why beg?" Sebastian exploded. "You insolent punk." Helpless, he said, "Fine. I was lenient because you're young. But you've left me no choice. Don't blame me for this, Lord Robert." Robert stepped forward, approaching Damien. He slowly drew the axe from his back. Standing close, Robert threatened, "I'm Robert, the city's guardian knight. Drop your weapon and surrender." Damien scoffed. "The city's guardian knight himself steps in?" Robert glared. "You're something else. You talk big, but your eyes show no fear. Brave or just stupid?" Damien stared back. "I'm confident enough." Robert smirked, then swung his axe at Damien. Damien narrowly dodged. Robert taunted, "So you're just a fool." Damien thought, "I talk tough. But at my current level, fighting him isn't easy." Robert kept attacking, and Damien focused on dodging. "I just need to hold out until the time is right." Robert threw a punch at Damien's face. Damien blocked it with his arm. The punch was so strong it sent Damien flying. He spun midair, landing in a stance. "I defended with all I had, and he still hit that hard?" His blocking arm was heavily bruised, looking ready to split. Glancing around, he thought, "She's still not here?" Robert charged, swinging his axe. "Where are you looking?" Damien barely dodged. "He's too fast." At that tense moment, a cloaked figure elbowed Robert in the stomach. Caught off guard, he dropped his axe. It spun through the air, embedding into the ground with a thud. The city guards were stunned. Cedric and Sebastian gaped in shock. Robert, struggling, said, "You have an ally? Who are you? State your name." The figure removed their hood, revealing silver eyes. It was a woman with short silver hair, dressed like a high-ranking knight. The guards gasped. "No way." Her presence. Robert's jaw dropped. A holy knight. From a distance, a voice called, "Damien, young master." Damien smiled, turning. "Why are you so late, Victor?" Victor arrived with two cloaked figures, running up. "Young master, I'm here," he shouted joyfully. "I've arrived." Cedric's face contorted with rage. "A holy knight? Dear? So the church is involved." The holy knight stared at him, and he thought, "Have they discovered my dealings with dark mages?" Victor anxiously asked Damien, "Young master, are you okay?" Damien pinched his cheeks. "Not okay at all. I was fuming waiting for you. Want to get fired?" Victor squirmed, trying to break free. "So this is the church's holy knight." The holy knight glanced over, saying, "At least you followed my instructions correctly." Victor, cheeks still pinched, struggled to reply, "Of course. If there's no issue, leave all orders to me, Victor." The scene shifts to hours earlier at the cathedral, where nuns were praying as someone entered. The holy knight paused her prayer and turned. Victor, holding a bag and a notebook, asked, "This is a branch of the Holy Church, right?" The holy knight approached. "Yes. What's the matter?" He held up the items reeking of dark energy, saying, "My young master told me to bring these to the church as fast as possible." He continued, "Basically, it's evidence of someone colluding with a dark mage." Her expression turned grave. "Can you show me?" Victor handed them over. "Sure. Here." The holy knight took the notebook. It's faint, but this energy is definitely dark magic. She noticed a symbol in the top left corner. This symbol. She snatched the bag. Could it be? She pulled out what looked like hair, then drew a man's severed head from the bag. Her gaze was icy. Finally found him. Agito, a Yulan leader. She placed a hand on her robe, then removed it, revealing her holy knight armor. Where's the person who sent you with this? Back in the present, she looked at Damien with gentle eyes. You're Damien Haxon? He replied politely. Yes, that's me. What is it? She said enthusiastically. I've received the evidence, and now the church will handle it. Damien responded, of course. He added, we won't interfere with the church's affairs, so do as you please. The holy knight bowed respectfully, saying, thank you very much. Damien smiled, satisfied. A holy knight of the church, everything's going as planned. The church dedicates their lives to serving God, always merciful and charitable to the common folk. But when facing heretics and demons, they'd sacrifice their souls without hesitation. A bunch of fanatics. The church's vanguard are the holy knights. Damien shifted his gaze to the woman. And these holy knights are on my side. She boldly declared, hear me, all soldiers and citizens. The church has received a report of someone in land work colluding with a wanted dark mage. The crowd murmured in panic. My God, a dark mage? Who'd deal with that filthy lot? Disgusting. She continued, thus, while we investigate those involved, the church will temporarily take control of this city. Sebastian shouted angrily. What? What's that supposed to mean? Land work is an autonomous city granted by the kingdom. The church wants to rule this city while I'm still governor? The holy knight was unyielding, saying, Governor Sebastian, eradicating heresy is God's will. The church's authority surpasses the kingdom's. He hissed, you dare. I'll formally complain to the church. She glared, shouting, furthermore, she declared, you and your knight are prime suspects. He stammered, what do you mean? Why would we work with dark mages? Pointing at Cedric, she said, that man has been hiding and abetting a dark mage. She frowned. Harboring such a person is suspicious enough. Sebastian turned to Cedric, demanding, Mr. Cedric, is this true? Cedric stammered, no way, how could I? That's absurd. She reached into her pocket. We have clear evidence, and you still deny it? The holy knight held up the notebook. It's all recorded here. Cedric, what did you buy? Where? Everything about that dark mage is here. Just cross-check with shop records to see if you're lying. Exposed, Cedric grimaced. Damn it. He thought, that cursed dark mage, why do you keep those records? He tried to explain, it's a misunderstanding. I swear I had nothing to do with that mage. The holy knight replied, we'll clarify that during the investigation. She ordered, take him away. Other holy knights urged him, move. Cedric shouted, don't touch me. As the church's men escorted Sebastian past Damien, he glared at him bitterly, while Damien crossed his arms, smirking. That bastard planned this from the start. Sebastian looked at his escorts. I can't be captured like this. Who knows what these fanatics will do? Cedric yelled helplessly, Lord Robert, you're just going to give up? These scum dare frame you. He kept shouting, Lord Robert. Robert pursed his lips briefly. Seizing the moment, he broke free and ran. I'd be dead if I let them take me. He grabbed his axe and charged at the holy knight. I'll kill you and escape. Cedric grinned triumphantly. Damien watched calmly. He's made a mistake. Robert swung, but the holy knight easily dodged. She countered, punching him. Truly foolish. Robert froze as she unleashed a flurry of blows. Cedric's jaw dropped, and Damien smiled lightly. The holy knight's punch pierced Robert's body. Whoever defies God's will, no matter who they are. Blood sprayed from Robert as he collapsed, dead on the spot. She glared down. He'll face divine punishment. That is God's will. The holy knight punched through Robert's chest. Whoever dares defy the will of God, no matter who they are. Blood spurted from Robert's mouth, and he collapsed, dead on the spot. She glared down at him. He will face punishment. That is God's will, Agnes said in a grim tone. Anyone who dares go against God's will shall surely be punished. Cedric Walker, tightly bound, groveled on the ground. Sebastian, captured and escorted to Cedric's side, was still cursing loudly. Let me go, you senseless fools. Victor, with a dark expression, asked, is this the infamous leader of the Black Serpent? Damien smirked coldly, replying, that's him. He added in surprise, doesn't look like the rumors. He's just some nobody, no different from a fat guy like me. Cedric Walker gritted his teeth, thinking, I never expected these pests would bring me to this state. Damien looked at Agnes with pride. Thanks to her, everything was resolved smoothly. He thought, I had my guesses, but she's stronger than I imagined. Based on her holy power, she's definitely a disciple of Blue Flame. Blue Flame Brigandise, the strongest in the temple, one of the 5 great saints, renowned for defeating countless heretics. Agnes approached, calling, Damien. It's hard to express my gratitude for your role in taking down a high-ranking figure, she said. Damien humbly replied, I only did what anyone would. She brought up the issue. Regarding this matter, I'll note your contribution and won't charge you any fees. Damien looked confused. I'm not sure what you mean. Agnes was surprised. Didn't you summon the temple to cover your attack on the Black Serpent? Damien was stunned, thinking, she saw through my intentions so easily? He sincerely bowed, saying, I apologize if I offended you. This dark mage not only cursed our territory, but also harmed my cherished kin. Agnes was momentarily speechless at Damien's sudden gesture, then replied, Given the situation, I can't hold you further accountable. Damien thought, she's more flexible than the rumors suggest. Agnes reminded him, the bounty for Agito's head will be awarded soon. Damien couldn't believe it. A bounty too? How much is it? As expected, the amount was staggering. 1,000 gold coins, he exclaimed. That's enough to buy a small castle. What luck! But what he really wanted from the temple was, he tested the waters. Can I request something other than the bounty? Victor looked at him differently. Turning down that kind of money? Agnes didn't object. Sure. What do you want? Damien stated his request. I want one of the mana cultivation techniques held by the temple. Agnes pondered. I don't quite understand. You're strong enough to defeat a dark mage on your own, yet that's what you want. Damien fell silent. He knew after fighting the dark mage that his past victories relied on sheer luck and raw power. From now on, to defeat formidable enemies and reach higher levels, I need the mana cultivation techniques used by knights. They're far superior to what I've learned. He explained, I've only mastered basic skills. I'm requesting this to improve myself. Agnes was shocked by his honesty. You reached this level with just basic techniques? She paused, realizing she could sense a significant amount of aura swirling within him. If he's telling the truth, his talent is extraordinary. And he has the resolve to eliminate heretics without hesitation, she noted. Agnes made an offer. If that's the case, there's something even better. Are you interested? Damien was immediately intrigued. Something better? Agnes admitted, yes. Would you like to become a holy knight? The offer stunned not only Damien, but also Victor. Damien bluntly replied, I respectfully decline. Agnes couldn't believe it. My God. Victor, curious, asked, why not? You took down someone that powerful with just a word. Damien cut him off. Shut up, fool. Agnes's voice grew heavy. Why not? Becoming a holy knight is a prestigious honor granted by the princess, allowing you to destroy evil in God's name. Do you know how hard it is to attain this position? Damien thought, sorry, but I don't have an ounce of faith. More importantly, I don't want to be the temple's dog. Imagining being dragged around with orders like, there's a vile dark mage, go bite him, made him shudder. I can't say that. I'll just make something up. Clearing his throat with a cough, he gave an irrefutable excuse. I'm not yet worthy of God's love. For now, I only wish to travel the world humbly, following the traces of divinity as a devout follower. Victor worried. Young master, you think that kind of lie will work? Agnes was awestruck, exclaiming, what holy words! My ears feel enlightened. Victor was horrified. That actually worked? Agnes continued, as you wish, we'll provide the mana cultivation technique instead of the bounty. But if you change your mind, don't hesitate to come to the temple. I'll personally welcome you. Damien interrupted, sorry, that's not happening. He thought. Agnes suddenly recalled. Now that I think about it, I haven't introduced myself. I'm Agnes, the first disciple of Blue Flame. Damien wasn't surprised. I knew it. So she's the first accepted disciple. He replied politely, it's an honor to meet you, Agnes. Can I go handle my business now? Agnes agreed fully. Do whatever you need. What are you planning? Cedric Walker felt targeted. Seeing Damien, he still spat venomously. You brat, even if I die, I'll. Before he could finish, Damien coldly kicked him in the stomach. Cedric writhed in pain, and Damien sneered. Your belly's so fat, it's like kicking a pillow. Facing Damien's boot, Cedric's eyes bulged with rage. You bastard. Without hesitation, Damien kicked him again, sending him flying. Cedric hit the ground, groaning. Damien, relieved, smiled. Now I feel better. Victor whispered. Young master, everything's settled now, right? Damien confirmed lightly. Done, though he wasn't entirely sure. Maybe? At the Marquis estate of the Lion Bloom family in the Apple Kingdom, Marquis Holland burst through the palace doors. Inside, only a servant remained, with someone on the bed wrapped tightly in blankets. Erwin, trembling under the covers, called out, Father. Holland rushed to his son's side, asking worriedly, What happened, son? Still terrified, Erwin stammered. That bastard tried to kill me. He held a knife, no, a fork, aimed at me. Seeing his son avoid eye contact, Holland seethed. My once joyful son reduced to this fearful state. He demanded of his subordinate. What happened? Tell me clearly. Who dared do this to my son? The guard hesitated. It was, Holland roared. Speak. The guard named. Damien of House Haxon. Exquisite vases, moments ago neatly arranged on the table, crashed to the floor in Holland's fury. He smashed everything, raging. What? That lowlife Haxon dared touch my precious son? He must have used some trick. Yes, that's it. Holland growled, ordering. Send men to Haxon's territory at once and drag that dog here. At the building where Damien was staying, a voice rang out. Greetings, Viscount Haxon. At the door stood a subordinate of Agnes. She bowed and introduced herself. I am Agnes, a holy knight of the temple. Paul and Mariuta exclaimed in unison. Welcome. Paul glanced irritably at Damien behind her. This brat not only causes trouble behind my back, but now he's brought a fanatic to our home. Paul, speaking on Damien's behalf, said, Damien informed me. He said you'd be staying here for a while. Agnes confirmed. Yes, this is to facilitate the investigation of heretics. We hope for your cooperation. Paul replied hesitantly. As you can see, the house is small, and I'm not sure we have suitable rooms. Agnes lifted a heavy bag of coins, expressing her sincerity. Thank you for your hospitality. This is a small token of our gratitude. Paul, swayed by the weight of the bag, said, Please treat this place as your home and rest comfortably. Agnes approached Damien, saying, Damien, I want to thank you again for allowing our investigation team to work here. Damien sighed inwardly. She mentioned another matter, but I didn't expect her to show up at my house. Agnes continued boldly. Damien, the investigation is crucial. May I ask one more thing? He responded, What are you waiting for? She emphasized, About you, Damien. I mean, spreading the faith. Her words made Paul and Mariuta freeze. Mariuta, curious and eager for gossip, thought, I wonder what she's trying to find out. Damien quickly dispelled their assumptions. It's not what you think. Agnes handed him an item. This is the cultivation book you requested, carefully selected. Damien, intrigued, asked, Thanks. Why 2 books? She revealed. One is a swordsmanship manual. Giving just a cultivation book without swordsmanship wouldn't do. Damien thought, I don't need swordsmanship much, but it doesn't hurt to have it. These are swordsmanship and cultivation books I've never seen in my past life. They were dominance blade technique and dominance chi art. Agnes cleared her throat, reminding him, These are hard to come by. Damien was grateful. I know. Thank you. Agnes shared the ordeal of obtaining them. Honestly, it wasn't easy, especially with the temple's opposition. Damien replied, You went through a lot. Agnes nodded. Yes, I had to rely on my master's authority. When I told my master about you, he said you're the chosen one the temple needs. She grabbed his hand, her eyes full of anticipation. So, once again, please consider becoming a holy knight, all right? Damien gently pulled his hands away, resolute. Sorry, Agnes. She stopped pressing him. I understand. Pushing further would be rude. But if you change your mind, come find me. Damien felt awkward. As expected, she's a true fanatic. That devotion is impressive, but not my fault for refusing. At a secluded cave, a room filled with scattered items, 2 people were puzzled. What's going on? They held up a mirror, their demeanor suspicious. Doesn't this seem fishy? Hades replied. What do you mean? Danvi analyzed. Think about it. Who's Agito? a high-ranking figure in Yulan, who's escaped the temple's pursuit multiple times. Sure, Agito specializes in curses and is weak in close combat, but a dark mage as powerful as him being killed by a rustic noble? Does that make sense? Hades shared the sentiment. Actually, I've been wondering the same, but what can we do? Agnes hasn't said anything about it. Dan Vi, curious, asked, shouldn't we bring this up? Hades cautioned, finish the investigation first, then talk. Focus on the task for now. Agnes stepped in, interrupting. You two can trust Damien. Both were startled, saying in unison, greetings, Agnes. She declared solemnly. I know why you're skeptical, but he didn't lie. Still, I can't fathom how he killed Agito. We've heard his account. Dan Vi, confused, asked, have we? Damien sheepishly revealed. I just dodged and cut off his head. The two recalled that moment, shocked. You mean what he said back then? Dan Vi couldn't believe it, repeating, you're saying he really just dodged and killed him? Agnes confirmed. That day, when his servant brought Agito's head, even I doubted his skills, so I observed instead of intervening directly. He fought dozens alone without a scratch, completely dominating. What shocked me most was, Agnes recalled his figure, effortlessly blocking an opponent's fireball. She revealed, he blocked a fireball, or rather, a spell. The others were stunned. What? Is that true? Agnes pondered. It's possible. I've heard sword masters can block all kinds of attacks, including magic. Hades couldn't believe it. If that's true, doesn't that mean? Agnes brushed it off. Of course, I'm not saying he's. Though my main goal here is to hunt Yulan, I also want to bring Damien to meet my master. He could be a valuable asset to the temple. So please, set aside your doubts and focus on the investigation. Both finally complied. We understand. The sound of galloping hooves echoed. Garrick led a group of knights toward Damien's home. Alpus stretched, yawning. Looks like we're finally here. Lavender, a knight in training from the Lion Bloom family, pinched her nose, grimacing. Hey, Alpus, what's that smell? It stinks. Damn it. Got any perfume? If this smell sticks. Garrick coldly barked, shut up. He was a full-fledged knight of the Lion Bloom family. Stopping his horse dozens of meters from a mansion's gate, Garrick asked, is that the Haxon estate? Alpus confirmed, yes, sir. Garrick reiterated the Marquis's orders. Our mission is to capture Damien. He snorted, catching that trash will be easy, but it's not enough to wash away the shame for young Master Erwin and the Marquis. Before he could continue, someone approached, forcing him to pause. An old man, hunched and leaning on a cane, passed by. The three stared, bewildered, as he moved ahead. Garrick called, hey. The old man turned, asking, who are you? Garrick pressed, do you live in Viscount Haxon's estate? The old man nodded. Yes, what's the matter? Without hesitation, Garrick drew his sword and beheaded him. The head rolled on the ground. Sheathing his sword, Garrick sneered. A mere commoner who doesn't bow at the Lion Bloom crest. That's a grave offense. The two behind him froze, thinking, wasn't he blind? Garrick called, Lavender, Alpus. They responded in unison, yes. He grinned with a scheming look. I have a great idea. When we reach the Haxon estate, we'll drag that bastard Damien out. Inside, Victor sensed danger approaching. Garrick's hooves stormed forward with dark intentions. And then, we'll slaughter everyone in sight. As Agnes's group emerged from the cave, Dan Vi broke the silence. Due to the area's collapse, we couldn't gather as much information as we hoped. Agnes responded casually. It's fine, you all did well. Suddenly, all three turned their gaze in one direction. Damien, meditating on a rock, with streams of energy swirling around him. He struggled to suppress the explosive aura within his body. Finally, Damien managed to regulate his energy flow. Agnes was stunned. What was that? I don't know what it is, but it's incredible. She kept wondering, what am I witnessing? The dominance chi art I gave Damien is a cultivation method. At its highest level, it allows mana absorption from the surroundings. But he mastered it in just a few hours. Damien completed the dominance chi art and exhaled deeply. Opening his eyes, he saw 3 pairs of admiring eyes sparkling at him. He calmly stepped down, asking, finished the investigation? Agnes observed closely. Damien, you've made significant progress. Damien humbly replied, just a little. Looking at the cultivation book she gave him, he thought, She wasn't exaggerating when she said it was rare. In my past life, as a sword master, swordsmanship meant little to me. But this cultivation method is incredibly useful. The dominance chi art was designed to replenish the massive mana consumed by the dominance blade technique. It gathered mana faster than other skills and could even temporarily draw mana from the environment. For a moment, neither knew what to say. Damien broke the awkward silence. It's dinner time. Want to head back? Dinner's being prepared. He waved his hand as if to dispel the odd atmosphere. Why does the backdrop look like that? Suddenly, he sensed a killing intent. What's this? His expression turned dangerous as he said, some pests have arrived. I have urgent business to handle, so I'll go ahead. Agnes coughed. Take your time heading back. With that, Damien dashed off at breakneck speed. Dan Vi, watching in awe, muttered, so fast. Agnes thought, moving that quickly with so little mana, his control must be incredibly precise. His speed rivals the wind. She wondered, what's his limit? Meanwhile, Alpus's fist swung with full force, landing a direct hit on Victor's stomach. Unashamed of bullying someone younger, Alpus even kicked Victor's back repeatedly. Filthy scum, daring to resist me. I said, hand over Damien. Victor stood firm. No, you plan to harm him. Paul rushed to intervene. He shouted, here, Viscount. Stop at once. Alpus eyed the newcomer, clearly recognizing him. Must be Viscount Haxon. Paul asked worriedly, Victor, are you okay? Then he confronted them. What the hell is going on here? Why are knights attacking civilians? Garrick, unapologetic, responded. Compared to what your estate did to the Lion Bloom family, this is nothing. Viscount Paul Haxon, Marquis Lion Bloom, demands Damien's surrender. Hand him over quietly, and your territory will be spared. Paul, tense, thought, Lion Bloom. I expected retaliation, but this is too brutal. It's obviously a lie. If I don't hand over my son, they'll burn this place to the ground. Paul faced a critical choice. He declared firmly, I'll never hand over my son. Garrick offered a chance. You won't regret that decision? Paul stood resolute. Absolutely not. Garrick replied, then we have no choice. Until that bastard Damien shows up, destroy everything. The two knights responded in unison. Understood. Paul roared in anger. You bastards, stop. Damien arrived just in time, his voice icy. Have those pests lost their minds? The group felt a chill as a dark, murderous aura approached from behind. Garrick, on guard, thought, when did he show up? Not knowing Damien's identity, he asked, who are you? Before he could finish, Garrick froze, feeling an oppressive force bearing down on him. What's this? I can't move. Damien approached Paul, concerned. Father, are you okay? Paul, worried, replied, I'm fine, but Victor. Damien's face darkened as he saw Victor's injuries. He spoke abruptly. You've probably heard I'm quite lucky, haven't you? If Victor weren't born with a strong body, he'd be dead from that beating. If that happened, I'd have crushed all three of you right here. Alpus, enraged, snapped. What, you punk? Garrick realized, so you're Damien? They say you're bold enough to defy the Marquis, but you're just a madman. Or do you think you're cool for beating a noble with dirty tricks? Damien frowned at the phrase. Dirty tricks? Garrick ordered his men. What are you standing there for? Break his legs and make him kneel before me. Both knights, swords drawn, charged fiercely. Understood. Lavender attacked first, swinging without hesitation. To hell with it. Damien caught Lavender's sword-wielding wrist with his bare hand, thinking, perfect. I was just about to test the mana I gathered from the dominance chi art. He twisted Lavender's wrist, making him scream in pain. Damien threw a punch, sending him flying. Convenient that these perfect targets delivered themselves to me. Alpus, seeing this, panicked and called, Lavender. Alpus took Damien's third blow, a kick that sent him sprawling. Damien smirked, I'll use it to my heart's content. Garrick was speechless as both his men were flung back. At that moment, Victor regained consciousness, calling, Young Master. Damien rushed to him, concerned. Victor, you okay? Victor's face was swollen, his hands trembling as he raised them, giving Damien a thumbs up. Damien was startled by the gesture, thinking, you're really something. Garrick dismounted his horse, approaching Damien step by step, saying, Did you fall for some cheap trick of yours? I still can't fathom how a scoundrel like you has such skills. Damien replied coldly, You don't need to know. Garrick, wary thought, this guy? He's like he's awakened. I get it now. Everything's falling into place. Damien couldn't follow Garrick's train of thought. What? Pointing straight at him, Garrick accused. You're not Damien. This move caught even Paul off guard. Damien asked, exasperated, what the hell are you talking about? Garrick shouted, refusing to face reality. Don't deceive me. You think I can't see this is a trap set by those battlefield hounds to hinder the Lion Bloom family's prosperity? You're not the real Damien. You must be a fake, hired to defeat Lord Irwin and tarnish the Lion Bloom name. These cowards dare to mess with Lion Bloom. Damien was speechless at his opponent's idiocy. This guy's dumber than I thought. Garrick assumed a combat stance, but not for long. His hands soon dropped, touching the ground. His 2G brain kicked in, and he collapsed, pretending to faint. Damn it, what now? For now, I'll fake being knocked out. Paul, supporting Victor, called out, Damien. He silently hoped, my lord, please win. Though feigning unconsciousness, Garrick gripped his sword tightly. Like a corpse springing to life, he raised his sword defensively. Assessing his opponent, he thought, he's skilled, but his luck's run out. Just half a step, and he'll be in my striking range. In his line of sight, Garrick advanced, sending ripples of supernatural energy through the ground toward Damien. He thought, I'll bind him. At that moment, Garrick acted, swinging his sword with 100% power, aiming to cleave Damien's shoulder in two. Damien sneered, blocking with his sword, and remarked, as expected of Lion Bloom. They sent a full-fledged knight this time. With a swift motion, Damien withdrew his sword, forcing Garrick back. Stunned, Garrick thought, impossible, he blocked my strike. Must be luck. Try blocking this. A barrage of blinding white sword arcs shot toward Damien. He casually dispersed them with one hand. You're too slow. Garrick's eyes blazed with fury, bloodshot. This time, Damien didn't defend but attacked like a storm. My turn. As his sword struck, blood splattered across Garrick's face, and he fell backward. His scratched-up face tense, Garrick thought. I couldn't even see his attack. Damien seized the moment, lifting his leg and delivering a direct kick to Garrick's face. Unable to resist, Garrick could only accept his role as a punching bag. Moments later, battered and trembling, he collapsed to his knees. Damien reminded him. That was for Victor. Garrick, gripping his sword, struggled to stand. You. With all his remaining strength, he charged, as if seeking mutual destruction. Scum. Damien showed no fear of this final outburst from a defeated foe. Garrick's strike, called Supreme Speed Lion's Might Sword, unleashed power like claws reaching out. Facing the flurry of claws surrounding him, Damien thought, too flashy. But that was all. Their swords clashed. Garrick stared in disbelief as his sword shattered under the force, and Damien's blade pierced his chest to prevent any comeback. Damien even yanked the sword back sharply. Garrick, in agony and wanting to log out of existence, met the ground in the next second. Paul, watching Damien's spectacular victory, was astonished, while Victor cheered inwardly. He won. Damien turned to them, his gaze softening. Garrick, clutching his severed shoulder to stop the bleeding, cursed, Damn it, it hurts. Gotta stop the bleeding. A cold blade hovered over his face. Garrick pleaded, I don't know who you are, but you've won. Please spare me. Please. Damien coldly reminded him. I'm Damien, you idiot. You should have begged for mercy earlier. You think it's not too late? You attacked my family and made my already ugly servant look worse, yet you expect me to spare you. Desperate, Garrick pleaded. I'm sorry for what happened. Damien listed more of his crimes. And you still don't know who to apologize to. Garrick, confused, hadn't grasped his meaning. As he looked up, his face paled at the sight of Paul and Victor's grim expressions, ready to settle the score. All three knights were beaten black and blue, forced to kneel in a row. Victor kept tapping a wooden club in his hand. Young master, I'm still not satisfied. Can I hit them a few more times? Damien, feeling merciful, replied. Enough. Any more, and they might actually die. Victor suggested a different approach. How about chopping off a limb or two? Damien nodded, intrigued. Not a bad idea. Paul stepped forward, patting his shoulder to stop him. Damien, that's enough. Garrick, quick to seize the moment, pleaded, Lord Haxon, I was wrong. I apologize for my disrespect. Paul's voice was cold and grim. You think a simple apology makes up for this? If my son weren't so strong, my estate would have been destroyed. No one knows what that boy endured when the Marquis family dragged him away. Garrick kowtowed repeatedly to save his skin. I beg you, please spare me. Paul weighed his options silently, already decided. He glanced at his son, signaling. Damien looked at Garrick, face buried in the dirt, thinking, I don't actually plan to kill them. If I did, ties with the Lion Bloom family would be completely severed. If it were just me, I wouldn't hesitate to take on the Marquis clan, but I can't do that with my family at stake. Still, letting them go this easily will only invite swift retaliation. What should I do? Just as he was caught in this dilemma, a voice called from afar, Damien. Agnes surveyed the scene, curious. What happened here? An idea sparked in Damien's mind. Wait, Agnes is like a savior in this mess. She'll probably help this time too. After hearing the full story, Agnes exclaimed, I see. She added, if you're worried about that, I might be able to help. Damien, hopeful, asked, what's your idea? Agnes replied calmly, thanks to the Haxon family, we've eliminated a key Yulan leader for the first time. We could designate the Haxon family as an allied clan. Paul thought, if that happens, our family could escape this crisis. Victor, not quite grasping it, asked, is being their ally that great? Damien, using his charm, took her hand and pleaded, if it's not too bold, could you agree to this proposal? Agnes, smitten, agreed instantly. Of course. Damien was pleased with her response. Exactly what I aimed for, with the same person. Protected by the temple. He feigned guilt, saying, sorry about that. Agnes, flustered, lowered her head. It's fine, Paul thought. Took me long enough to see through his tricks. Did that boy just use his looks to charm her? Victor nodded, as if enlightened. Damien's demeanor shifted, turning cold as a death god, addressing the three knights. You heard that, didn't you? Go tell the Lion Bloom family that the Haxon family is now under the temple's protection. If they dare use force again, they'll face the temple's wrath. If you understand, scram. The three, as if granted a divine reprieve, fled for their lives, not forgetting to mutter thanks. Victor, towering behind, growled threateningly. Consider yourselves lucky, you bastards. His thoughts were simple. See, they're running like whipped dogs. Now we can breathe a little easier, he said. Paul replied, not necessarily. We need to plan our next steps. We must hold a family meeting. Inside the room, all family members were gathered. Paul spoke up. All right, let's begin the meeting. The topic, as you all know, is dealing with the feud with the Lion Bloom family. Abel asked, Father, aren't we already protected by the temple? Why worry about this feud? Louise explained, Abel, it's because we can't expect the temple to fully intervene. Abel was shocked. What? Paul confirmed, Louise is right. The temple doesn't meddle deeply in noble affairs. Besides, Lion Bloom's power isn't just military. If they want, they can crush small nobles like us in countless ways. For now, the most practical options are paying them off or seeking protection from a higher noble. Realistically, aligning with a larger family is likely our best chance. Agnes joined in. There's another way. Damien could become a holy knight. Damien, exasperated, thought, she's bringing that up now? Facing the probing gazes of the family, he firmly refused. I don't want to. Paul respected his choice. Damien doesn't want it, so drop that option. Abel, disappointed, replied, got it. Suddenly, Abel snapped, slamming the table and shouting, Father, I have a bad feeling. What's wrong with me? Adjusting his thick glasses, he said, why do you accept it so easily? If he just became a holy knight, this would all be over. Just tell him to agree, and it's done. He's been a hassle from start to finish. Better if we never meet again. Damien, irritated, thought, this kid talks like it's none of his business. Slamming the table, he snapped, what's with that look? Thinking about it, this all started because of me. It's all my fault. Paul, grimly, cautioned, Abel, we have guests. Sit down while I'm still speaking calmly. Abel suppressed his anger and returned to his seat. Paul agreed. Abel's right. Damien sparked the conflict with Lion Bloom, but we can't fully blame him. The Marquis's second son had ill intentions toward Louise. Even if Damien hadn't acted, Damien thought, did I think that guy would let her go easily? Paul, trembling, suppressed his sorrow at his own uselessness. In truth, Damien protected Louise from the Marquis's second son's schemes in place of this powerless father. Standing slowly, Paul called, "So, Damien." Damien, head bowed, replied, "Yes, father." Paul praised him. "Today, you did well. You stood up for our family's honor and fought back admirably." Damien was shocked, not expecting such sentiments. Head lowered again, he said, "It's just what I had to do." Paul patted his shoulder, reassuring him. "Don't worry. From now on, let me handle this. Let me act like a proper father, at least this time." Suddenly, a voice interrupted from outside. "Lord Haxon, apologies for the intrusion." Paul responded, "What is it?" The servant reported, "Someone from the Gold Pixier family is here." Paul was surprised. "Gold Pixier? What does that ducal family want with us?" The servant hesitated. "Well, young Master Damien borrowed money, using the family's wheat fields as collateral, and the repayment is overdue." Damien nearly jumped up, but his father stopped him. He cursed inwardly. "Damn it, don't tell me they sold it already." He glanced at his father, who was trembling with suppressed rage. Paul, without hesitation, punched Damien. The entire estate echoed with his shout, "You damned brat." The visitor stepped inside, politely removing his hat. Recognizing him, Olin took the initiative. "Damien, greetings." Damien thought, "I vaguely remember this guy. He's the manager of the western branch of Dust and Coin." Olin Dmischel introduced himself. "It's been a while. I'm here today regarding the agreed-upon repayment date." He held up the debt contract for them to see. "Wouldn't it be better if you used your family's land as collateral? That way, we could lend you more money. It's just a formality, no need to worry. How could a lowly person like me dare take land from a noble like you?" Damien, despairing, thought, "This is the guy who convinced me. Damn it, past me. Why did you hand over the land deed?" Unable to recall clearly, he asked, "How much do I still owe?" Olin gave a precise figure. "You borrowed 200 gold, so with interest, it's 300 gold total." Damien was stunned. "What? That's the exact amount." Olin confirmed. "Would you like to review the contract?" Damien was horrified. "It's been so long, I don't even remember why I borrowed it. But our family clearly doesn't have that kind of money. If this continues, we'll be kicked out onto the streets." He imagined his family begging on the roadside, passers-by pointing, "Spare us some coins. Look, Mom, beggars. Don't stare at them like that." Olin cleared his throat, continuing, "You know, if you don't pay today, the land you put up as collateral will become Dust and Coin's property." Damien exclaimed, "You said the collateral was just a formality." Olin flashed a sinister smile. "Indeed, I did. But what can be done now? The Duke of Gold Pixier has ordered the collection of all debts, noble or commoner. So, if you understand, please bring the money." Olin pressed, "You don't have it, do you?" Damien regretfully admitted, "I couldn't prepare the payment." Olin, surprised by his honesty, let out a "huh," and sneered coldly. "Is that so?" He leaned back on the sofa in the parlor, continuing, "Then why did you borrow money in the first place?" His attitude turned arrogant, snapping his fingers to summon two menacing debt collectors who blocked Damien's path. "I guess we'll have to collect the money our own way," Olin said, thinking, "I knew from the start you couldn't pay. Honestly, I prefer money, but I enjoy this moment more, watching arrogant nobles grovel before me. What face will young Master Haxon make? Just imagining it is thrilling." Paul, tense over his reckless son's actions, paced restlessly. Mariuta, calmly sipping tea with her daughter, urged, "Dear, please sit and rest. You're wearing out the floor." Louise chimed in, "Abel, you calm down too." Paul nearly lost it, tugging at his hair. "Darling, how can I stay calm? Our family could be ruined." Abel was equally frantic. "Exactly. How can we sit still when our family's future is at stake?" Mariuta trusted her son. Damien said he'd handle it. "Let's trust him and wait." Louise added, "Right. Damien's never let us down when he steps up, has he?" Paul remained worried. "That's just because his swordsmanship is exceptional. Fighting and negotiating are entirely different." But he was wrong. His son was using his combat skills to thrash a debt collector. Olin couldn't stay seated as his men fell. Damien hoisted one by the collar, thinking, "Father's going to yell at me again." He just fixed that wall. Another collector seized the chance to swing his sword in a sneak attack, shouting, "You brat." Damien's agile hand shot out, backed by formidable strength. He gripped the collector's throat, whose breathing grew faint. Damien coldly accused, "You drew a sword on a noble." The smile on his face lost all humanity. With a justified reason for self-defense, this counts as self-defense, right? Olin couldn't believe he'd provoked a demon. As Damien approached, Olin trembled. Damien leaned down, eyeing the man who trapped him in debt, saying, "Relax." Olin, facing a blood-stained fist, complied meekly, "Yes, my lord." Damien continued, "Listen, I can't pay that amount right now." Olin, focused on survival, quickly agreed, "It's fine, no problem." Damien pressed, "So, can I repay you another way?" Olin, cornered, had no choice but to accept. "Yes." The next morning, in the fresh air outside the Haxon estate, Abel suddenly said, "Father, I'm heartbroken." Paul, confused, asked, "Why? What's wrong?" Abel replied, "Because justice was defeated by violence." Mariuta and Louise were seeing Damien off. "Damien, safe travels, and eat well," they said. He reassured them, "Don't worry, I'll be back." Abel's inner despair erupted in a scream. "Why? How could this happen? Damn it." Paul scolded, "Enough of that. Cheer your brother on for his journey." He worried, though I reluctantly agreed. I'm still concerned if his plan will work. Agnes arrived to bid farewell, saying, "What a pity, Damien. I didn't expect we'd part so soon." Damien was honored by her presence. "Agnes, thank you for your help." She replied casually, "Of course, I just did what I had to. By the way, our investigation is nearly done, so we'll head back tomorrow. Wishing you a smooth journey." Damien thanked her. "Thank you." She hadn't given up. "If you ever change your mind." Damien cut her off firmly. "I won't." He approached the carriage where Victor waited, saying, "Farewell's done. Shall we go?" Victor confirmed, "Yes, I've loaded the luggage." They boarded together. Damien settled comfortably, thinking, this carriage is spacious. Olin, opposite him, spoke up, "Greetings." He was deferential, fawning, "I'll ensure you face no inconvenience on this journey." Damien smiled, making a request, "Good attitude. With that spirit, let's have lobster for lunch." Victor, thrilled, replied, "Yes, young master." He leaned out, telling the driver, "Let's go." The driver pulled the reins, and the horses trotted, ready to depart. The carriage rolled forward. Damien was excited for the new journey. "All right, let's go." The destination this time was the Gold Pixier family. As the carriage came to a halt, the three stepped out, and Victor gazed in awe at the distance. He was stunned by the grandeur of the Gold Pixis estate. Truly the mansion of one of the kingdom's wealthiest families, so dazzling, it's overwhelming. Damien didn't forget to thank Olin. "Thanks to you. This trip went smoothly. If everything goes well, I won't forget your help." Olin bowed subserviently, replying, "Yes, yes, I've informed the Duke. You can head inside." He recalled serving Damien hand and foot during the carriage ride. "That damn bastard made me work harder than a slave. I hope things go south for him so he rots in there." Outwardly, Olin feigned sincerity. "I hope everything goes smoothly." Damien responded politely, "Thank you." He instructed Victor, "I'll be back soon." Victor cheered, "Yes, young master." As Damien entered, a voice inside exclaimed, "Damien?" It was Duke Adam Gold Pixis of the Apple Kingdom. He continued, "The infamous troublemaker from the Haxon family?" Damien maintained his calm demeanor. "I'm honored you recognize me." Inwardly, he thought, they're all the same. Adam crossed his arms, asking, "So what brings you here?" Damien explained clearly and concisely, "I borrowed money from your family's financial institution, and the repayment deadline has arrived." Adam understood immediately. "I see. So you're one of our clients." Damien continued, "Forgive me, but I don't have the money now, so I'd like to repay it another way." Adam raised an eyebrow. "Another way?" Damien confirmed, "Yes, instead of money, I want to defeat the Lion Bloom family to clear my debt." His confidence stunned Adam. The other knights exchanged glances, equally shocked. Adam burst out laughing. This kid must have heard the news. Gohimic, a knight of the Gold Pixis family, chimed in, "Seems like it." Damien knew well. Everyone in the Apple Kingdom knows about this. Recently, a gold mine was discovered at the border between the Lion Bloom and Gold Pixis territories. The two rival families, already at odds, Organized a duel between lower-ranked knights to claim exclusive mining rights. I already know the outcome. Lion Bloom won overwhelmingly. They used the gold to rapidly expand their influence, while the Gold Pixis family's power visibly waned. In short, if I help the Duke win, I can not only clear my debt, but also curb Lion Bloom's influence. Adam caught on. You're ambitious. I heard you defeated the second son of Lion Bloom and even dismantled Landworth's largest organization. Damien admitted, the rumors are somewhat true. Adam got to the point. Sounds enticing. I'm looking for a knight for the duel. Damien confidently added, then there's no one better than me. Who else could face the eldest son of Lion Bloom? Adam emphasized, are you sure you can beat him? Everyone knows he's a genius. Damien maintained his confidence. His skills are formidable, but someone interrupted, my lord, don't trust him. Those rumors are often exaggerated. Adam nodded. You have a point. The speaker was Sura, a mid-tier knight, who reported, besides, Lady Chelsea will bring the perfect candidate. Sura added, exactly. Chelsea's been gone a month to find a knight capable of facing Michael Lion Bloom. She's probably on her way back. He continued, she always passes your tests flawlessly, so she'll surely bring someone exceptional. Adam acknowledged their input. You both make sense. Damien glared at them, fuming. These annoying pests are ruining my plan. Adam probed, my men think so. What about you, Damien? What should I do? Damien realized, he's testing my reaction. Then I'll show you, he declared. You're all gravely mistaken. One of them, shocked, asked what? Damien nominated himself, stating, if you want to win the duel, you must choose me. No matter who Chelsea brings, they won't match me. Sura grudgingly admitted, this guy's arrogant. You say that without knowing who she's bringing? Damien delivered his final negotiation blow. If you need proof, I'll block your strongest attack. Sura's forehead veins bulged, humiliated. What? Damien reiterated. Just your strongest move. If I block it, that proves my strength. Sura, enraged, thought, this punk dares underestimate me. He's just a lowlife. Turning to Adam, unable to hold back, Sura pleaded, my lord, please allow me to teach this brat a lesson. Adam found it intriguing. Sounds interesting. He approved immediately. Fine, I allow it. Both were led to an outdoor arena. Victor, worried, called, young master, you came to persuade the Duke. Damien reassured him. Just an unexpected twist. Stay there. Seeing Victor's lack of confidence, Damien thought, I feel like I'm the one in danger. Adam ordered, begin. The knight complied. Yes, my lord. Sura slammed his spear into the ground with force. If you kneel and beg, I'll spare you. Damien, bored, yawned. TCH, just fight already. This fueled Sura's rage. You brat. He growled. Are you seeking death? Power surged from him, merging with the spear. Eager to prove himself, Sura said, didn't you ask for my strongest move? Damien, puzzled, thought, did I actually piss him off? Sura charged. I'll put a hole through that smug face of yours. Moving at incredible speed, he thrust his spear at Damien. Raising his sword to block, Damien inwardly marveled. As expected of a mid-tier knight. But as long as I know where he's aiming, it's not hard to. The spear's sharp tip, backed by Sura's strength, aimed for Damien's chest. Caught by the sudden force, Sura pressed the spear harder. Damien's sword shattered under the pressure. Sura grinned triumphantly, gloating. Fool, you fell for it. Damien took the hit, blood spurting from his chest. Victor shouted in panic. Young master. Even Adam and Gohimic were stunned by the dire situation. As Damien staggered back, but managed to stand firm, Ernst was utterly shocked, his mind reeling. Impossible, he blocked my surprise attack? Damien suddenly addressed Adam. My lord, does this mean I'm your representative now? Seeing him unharmed, Victor rushed into Damien's arms, exclaiming, Young master, you're okay? I thought you were done for. Damien pushed his face away, scolding. That hurts, you idiot. Adam approached, clapping in praise. You actually blocked Ernst's slow strike. Impressive. He thought. I had my doubts, but this guy's the real deal, not some ordinary person. Adam immediately commanded, listen up, everyone. Damien has proven his ability spectacularly. As promised, I appoint him as our representative. Ernst, unconvinced, protested. But, my lord, Adam cut him off coldly. Enough. I'm in a good mood today, Don't ruin it. Ernst reluctantly complied. Yes, my lord. Inwardly, he fumed, staring at Damien. Damn it, how did it come to this? I was sure my strike would hit. Only Damien knew the truth. The Duke looks down on him, but Ernst isn't weak. He just faced the wrong opponent. My skill level already surpasses low-tier knights, but since only low-tier knights can join the duel, I had to put on that act. The performance was flawless, enough to fool anyone. In that moment, if I hadn't used mana to block, I might have been in real danger. As Damien reflected, Adam observed him quietly, assessing. Adam approached, saying, with internal injuries like that, I can't just leave you be. He twisted a ring on his finger, and a gentle light glowed from it. Damien was stunned as a small spatial portal appeared. A spatial artifact. Adam retrieved an item from it. Opening an intricately carved box, he said, "This is a gift for you." Damien, puzzled, asked, "What is it?" Adam explained, "It's a pill called the Balance Elixir. I spent a fortune at the Alchemy Academy to get it." Damien's heart bloomed. Jackpot. It enhances physical strength, like the supplements from before. Adam placed it in Damien's hand, advising, "Knights typically use it during training, but it's also effective for healing internal injuries." Damien replied politely, "Thank you, my lord." Adam patted his shoulder, his tone full of expectation. "I hope you'll contribute even more in the future." Damien affirmed confidently, "Yes, my lord." The next day, after a night's rest, Damien stepped outside, flexing his right arm. He felt, this pill really works. After one night, my internal injuries are almost healed. Glancing at the equipment in the hallway, he marveled, "I didn't notice yesterday, but the training gear in the Duke's estate is top-notch. I could use these for long-term training." Suddenly, someone approached, asking, "You're Damien Haxon, right?" Damien stood below a platform, while the other person had to stand on it to match his height. Not recognizing him, Damien asked, "Yes, and you are?" The man introduced himself. "I'm Papal Man, and these are my sworn brothers. We're also dual knights, here to compete." Damien probed, "You're all?" Papal confirmed. "Exactly. We were training outdoors yesterday, so we weren't there. You're lucky. If we'd been around, it wouldn't have been Ernst you faced. The duel with Lion Bloom is a matter of life and death, tied to the fate of the Duke's estate. Don't embarrass us with your half-baked skills." "Got it. Now move. Don't disrupt our training." Damien didn't bother with their immaturity. Fine, whatever. He felt it was a win. Good. I was curious about the knights in the Duke's estate, and now I can see their skills. Papal shouted, adopting the immovable king's stance, gripping his sword tightly. His comrade used the Vermilion Bird Ascendant technique. They clashed in a fierce sword fight, showing off their prowess. "This is our 987th match, and I'll win this time," Papal declared, unyielding. "Bring it." They competed in strength, pouring power into their swords. Papal gathered his inner force, his sword breaking through his opponent's resistance. His opponent nimbly dodged, but couldn't hold out long before Papal's wooden sword struck him. The opponent praised, "As expected of you, Papal. You predicted my move and countered with your foot." He added, "I learned something new today." Papal returned the compliment. "You've improved too. Call it a draw." Another stepped onto the field. "Fight me today. My body's itching for action." The other agreed. "I'll rest, then take you on." Both said to Papal, "Let's have a decisive match in a month. If we keep training like this, we'll get great results." "Absolutely. We'll crush Lion Bloom and bring glory to the Duke's estate." The three, fired up, raised their swords to the sky, proclaiming, "All for one for all." Their faces radiated fervor. Damien, watching from afar, darkened. Victor, curious, asked, "Young master, what's wrong?" "Who are they?" Damien sighed, "We're doomed. I have to face reality." "Victor, I think we're in serious trouble for the upcoming duel." Victor was shocked. "What? Why say that out of nowhere?" Damien, regretful, shared the bad news. "With those idiots, I have no confidence in winning." The next day, Adam chuckled with amusement, saying, "This isn't fitting for a high-tier knight, is it?" Gohimic, his expression icy, replied, "I don't find it bothersome at all." Adam teased, "Come on, be honest with me." Gohimic insisted, "I'm being truthful." The previous night, Damien had approached him, reporting, "Thank you for the offer, but I prefer training alone." Adam had responded, I was just asking casually. Reflecting on it, he laughed heartily. To think he dared to refuse training from Gohimic. Damien's quite an interesting guy. By the way, what do you think of Damien? Gohimic shared his thoughts. He's an extraordinary young man. Activating mana in an instant and blocking Ernst's strike. Not just anyone can do that. Adam pondered a question. What do you think of our chances in this match? Can we defeat the Lion Bloom family? Gohimic hesitated. That's hard to say right now. Since the duel involves 3 participants, and victory goes to the side with 2 wins first. Even if Damien performs well, it won't matter if the others falter. Adam nodded knowingly. Exactly. Our knights need to perform well too. Are they training diligently? Gohimic reported. Lord Vincenzo, a mid-tier knight, is overseeing their training, so I believe there's no need to worry. Damien observed the group ahead, thinking, these guys are a bigger problem than I expected. Forget their stupidity, their stamina is even worse. All flash, no substance. At this level, we're doomed to lose. Paben, sparring with his 2 comrades, was eager. I'm recovered now. Shall we go for round 2? I want to try my new Thunder Strike technique. Damien, exasperated, snorted. Clutching his forehead, he thought, no choice. I have to step in. He shouted, hey, you 3 idiots, come here. One of them, shocked, said what? He just called us idiots? Damien stepped forward, proposing, let's have a practice match. Paben scoffed, seeing our skills and still challenging us? This guy's got guts. Fine, I'll be the first to take you on. Damien corrected him. You're mistaken. I don't want to fight just one of you. I want all 3 at once. The trio froze for a moment. Paben, the first to react, roared in anger. What? You insolent punk. Fine then. Though it's against a knight's code, when dealing with mad dogs, beating them senseless is the best way. Facing the fists of all 3 charging at him, Damien remained calm. Paben couldn't believe it. He sprawled on the ground, eyes wide with confusion. Sitting up dazed, he wondered, what just happened? Turning to see his comrades sprawled beside him, Damien's voice rang out from behind, finally awake. As pathetic as I expected. Victor, worried, ran over, asking, young master, what trouble have you caused now? Damien reassured him. Not trouble. I'm just teaching the Duke's Knights a lesson. Victor, surprised, asked, they're the Duke's Knights? Paben, still dazed, grappled with questions. I remember we attacked him together, but I don't recall what happened next. 5 minutes earlier, as the 3 charged, Damien casually sidestepped the first punch. The second's fist swung through empty air, and Damien countered with a single move, instantly defeating them. Paben, the last to charge, seethed, aiming to teach Damien a lesson, but Damien's punch sent him crashing, showing him the color of the ground. Even as he fell, Paben couldn't process what happened. He became a punching bag, enduring Damien's relentless kicks. Paben's eyes gleamed with disbelief. We were all defeated? He overwhelmed all 3 of us. Terrified, he wondered, what kind of monster is he? Damien sneered. I didn't even break a sweat. He called out, hey, you lot. Paben, cowed, replied, yes, sir. Damien asked, who trained you? Paben confessed honestly. We were trained by Lord Sebastian Vincenzo, a mid-tier knight. Damien pressed, mid-tier, huh? Paben confirmed, yes. Damien thought, a mid-tier knight trained them like this? I'd tell them to quit training, but I don't want unnecessary trouble. He decided, when Vincenzo's training session ends, come find me. From now on, you'll spar with me daily. Paben was stunned. What? But if Lord Vincenzo sees us bruised, he'll think something's up. Damien reassured him, don't worry. No matter how much I beat you, your body won't show a single scar. Paben realized, come to think of it, despite his attacks, we're unharmed. How's that possible? Damien revealed. Here's the thing. I learned a special way to hit people. Long ago, a man wandered the continent disciplining sinners, known as the Persona Shaper. His method was simple, punch them for an hour. If that didn't work, he'd double the time. Legend says his longest beating lasted 512 hours. Over time, the Persona Shaper felt pity for his victims and wondered how to hit them without ruining their lives. Thus, he reached a master's realm with a technique called Phantom Strike. Damien thought, that's what I just used on them. A secret technique that inflicts pain without leaving marks. He asked, Now do you get how weak and worthless you are? But don't worry, we have a month until the duel. I'll turn you useless bugs into useful ones. The three gaped, stunned. Damien urged, all right, back to training. Victor fretted, what are you planning this time, young master? Suddenly, someone rushed over, calling, there you are. Damien recognized the Duke's servant. The servant reported, the Duke is looking for you, Lord Damien. Damien asked casually, what's the matter? Chelsea's arrival was the clearest answer. The servant announced, Lady Chelsea has returned. Adam furrowed his brow slightly, looking at the person before him, his voice gentle. It's been a while. Father. Chelsea knelt on one knee respectfully. I have returned. Behind her, Guillermo also knelt. She was the eldest daughter of Duke Chelsea Galapixi. Ernst, seeing Chelsea kneeling, smiled and thought, you've returned safely. Duke Adam looked at his daughter and spoke. It's been a month. Have you found a knight to represent us in the duel? She smiled, glancing at the man behind her. Yes, I have. He stood up, his wrestler-like physique startling Adam. Guillermo declared loudly. Greetings, I am Guillermo Blackwing, a low-tier knight of Blackwing. Knights in the distance whispered among themselves. Guillermo Blackwing? Isn't he that famous mercenary? Images of his frenzied slaughter flashed in their minds as the murmurs continued. I heard he fought in the Acclainran Kingdom's war and nearly wiped out all the low-tier knights. They say no low-tier knight can defeat him. Adam looked at Guillermo, surprised. I've heard a lot about you. He smiled approvingly. You earned that title by going berserk on the battlefield. Guillermo laughed heartily. I didn't think the Apple Kingdom knew about me. Chelsea stood up. Father, Guillermo has sworn loyalty to me. He's also promised to join the duel. Confidently, she gestured toward Guillermo Blackwing. He can defeat Michael Lionbloom. The nearby knights continued their discussion. Honestly, compared to him, he's far stronger than Michael Lionbloom. If Michael Lionbloom is approaching perfection, Guillermo has already reached that realm. Adam rubbed his chin. That's good news, but there's a slight problem. Chelsea, puzzled, asked, what do you mean, father? He realized he hadn't introduced the other candidate. I haven't introduced him yet, have I? A noise grew louder behind them, and both turned. He's the one representing us in the duel. Damien strode in with confidence. Chelsea Haxon's brows furrowed, her displeasure evident. Suppressing her anger, she said, what do you mean? I told you to wait for me. Adam replied, true, but I never said I would. Her face twisted, then changed the representative. He frowned. I'll consider it. Chelsea shouted furiously. You don't need to consider. I've never even heard of him. From behind, Damien observed the girl shouting in the room, thinking, she must be his daughter. Turning to glare at Damien, she yelled, isn't it obvious you should choose Sir Guillermo? Damien looked helplessly at the enraged Chelsea. She's treating me like an insect. She continued praising Guillermo while belittling Damien. He's far better than some unknown knight like him. Nearby, Guillermo stared at Damien, smirking. Damien noticed Guillermo's thoughtful frown. Wait, this guy? Adam spoke up. Of course, Sir Guillermo is renowned. He glanced at Ernst, smiling. But this Damien here was strong enough to block Hogwa's ultimate strike. Hearing this, Guillermo trembled with anger, letting out a mocking laugh. Chelsea stopped shouting. You just don't want to acknowledge my efforts. This is your perfect chance to ignore them. She continued. Your actions never match your words, whether with me or mother. Adam's face darkened at her words. How dare you behave like this in front of my guests? Chelsea rolled her eyes, saying curtly, forgive me, I'm just tired from my journey. The room fell into an awkward silence. Watching from afar, Damien thought about their strained father-daughter relationship. They don't seem to get along well. Adam waved dismissively. We'll discuss other matters first and address this later. No more arguing. Guillermo Blackwing burst into laughter. His laugh puzzled both Adam and Ernst. Guillermo declared, My Lord Duke, why settle this with words? We're men, after all. Chelsea was stunned by his words. Adam looked at Guillermo sternly, frowning. That's crude. Guillermo approached Damien. The strongest should be the representative. Why not have a match to decide the winner? Chelsea, shocked, shouted, What are you doing? I told you to stay quiet. Adam stopped his daughter. He's not wrong. Turning to Damien, he asked, What do you think, Damien? Damien thought, the Duke's testing me again. Knowing he needed to prove his strength to settle this, he said, He's right. The strongest should represent us, but I don't think we need to fight. Provoking Guillermo, Damien thought, I also want to test a few things. He challenged. Why not settle who's the strongest? Guillermo frowned at the taunt, then laughed, reaching out to grab Damien's hand. If I accidentally rip your arm off, don't blame me. Damien quipped, that's scary. His face darkened with a sly grin. Then I'll go easy and just dislocate your shoulder. Guillermo bared his teeth, grinning. Come at me. He surged with strength, reaching for Damien's hand. His eyes flashed red, but Damien effortlessly flipped him midair. Guillermo, dazed, crashed hard onto the ground. Everyone gasped in unison at the scene. Chelsea, horrified, exclaimed, what just happened? Gohimic, impressed, thought, remarkable. The moment replayed. Guillermo tried grabbing Damien's hand, but Damien used Guillermo's own strength against him, throwing him to the floor. Gohimic grew increasingly impressed with Damien. He's not just strong but experienced. A growl interrupted his thoughts. Guillermo stood, snarling. How dare you humiliate me like this? Damien, chuckling, said, you're tougher than I thought. I really meant to dislocate your shoulder. Furious, Guillermo reached for his weapons. You filthy dog, I'll tear you to pieces. He assumed a stance, gripping two swords tightly. Chelsea panicked, shouting, Guillermo, stop. He swung his blades at Damien. I'll crush your skull. Just as Guillermo's swords neared Damien, a sudden green aura enveloped him, forcing him to halt. Stunned, he stared at it. A voice rang out nearby, stop. Gohimic drew his sword, declaring, you dare draw weapons in the presence of someone as esteemed as the Duke. He glared at Guillermo with a deadly gaze. Are you tired of living? Guillermo trembled in fear at the threat. Damien, observing, silently praised, impressive. His aura exerts such pressure, not your average high-tier knight. Gohimic turned to Chelsea, adding, I'll overlook this for Lady Chelsea's honor. Sheathing his sword, he warned, but no, there won't be a second chance. Guillermo, terrified by Gohimic's actions, collapsed, gasping, narrowly escaping death. Suddenly, applause echoed. Adam stepped in to mediate. Seems like a bit of internal strife. He continued, for now, Damien will remain the representative. Ernst interjected, my lord, that match wasn't fair. Pointing at Guillermo, he argued, Sir Guillermo hasn't recovered from exhaustion after his journey. Damien Haxon had a clear advantage. Damien, irritated, muttered, this jerk again. Adam responded, above all, Sir Guillermo is a knight who uses weapons. You can't judge his skill in a barehanded fight. Chelsea chimed in, Ernst is right. We need to compare their skills fairly, not through this childish game, but in an official duel. Adam's tone grew stern. Chelsea, don't push it. Furious, she shouted, Father? Seeing her defiance, Adam slammed the table, scolding. I told you to stop talking about your incompetence. Chelsea froze, then covered her face, sobbing. I was out of line, she said. Ernst, beside her, clenched his fists in anger. Damien spoke up. Lord Duke, may I say something? Adam replied, what? Damien continued, can I accept Lady Chelsea's proposal? Chelsea was stunned, and Adam looked at him in surprise. The next day, as Damien strolled with Victor, the latter asked, young master, why did you agree to that duel? You had nothing to lose by staying quiet. Damien replied, I have my reasons, so stop complaining. Victor cautioned, you're walking into trouble. While walking, Damien paused, eyeing a nearby shop. By the way, is this the forge the Duke mentioned? Victor answered, yes, I think so. Damien recalled Adam's words. If you're so determined, I won't stop you. Since your longsword broke in the fight with Howitt, I've arranged a new one for you at the Duchy's forge. He thought, I could beat a jerk like Guillermo with a wooden sword, but no need to refuse the Duke's kindness. Entering the forge, Victor stepped forward, telling the staff, we're here on the Duke's orders. He said to pick up the sword for my young master. The staff smiled. I was told you'd come. He led them inside. This way. Victor was awestruck by the weapons. These are incredible. Damien glanced around, asking, want one? Victor, excited, asked, can I pick something expensive? Suddenly, Damien spotted a sword, exclaiming, that sword. Following his gaze, the staff said, a special sword, isn't it? He explained, it was commissioned by a knight who worked here. He left abruptly due to an emergency before it was finished. The owner never held it. Damien asked, "Did that knight provide resonant iron to forge it?" The staff, shocked, said, "How did you know?" Damien didn't answer, thinking, its shape resembles the weapon favored by a master once called the Sword Maestro. Finally, Damien picked up the sword. "I'll take this one." The staff, surprised, asked, "You're choosing that, knowing it's forged from resonant iron?" Damien nodded, examining the sword at eye level. Unlike ordinary steel that only boosts mana, resonant iron amplifies mana and creates waves. He asked, "What's this sword's name?" The staff recalled. The knight who commissioned it said he'd call it the 1,000-mile sword. As Damien sheathed it, the door opened, and a voice called, "Have you found a sword you like, Lord Damien?" She greeted him, "Pleased to meet you." Introducing herself, "I'm Rebecca, Lady Chelsea's attendant." She added, "My lady instructed me to meet you. If it's all right, can we spend some time together?" Hearing Chelsea's name, Damien replied, "I don't think I have anything specific to discuss with her." Rebecca smiled, saying, "Who knows? My lady might offer more than you think. You could get what you want." Damien saw through her. She's being indirect, but she's just trying to lure me. He thought, I need to verify something. Should I play along? He decided, fine, lead the way. At a restaurant, Rebecca said, "This is a restaurant run by Lady Chelsea herself." As she guided him in, she added, "It's reservation only, exclusive to nobles. Today, it's empty, so you can enter." Stopping at a room, Rebecca opened the door. "My lady is waiting inside. Please." Damien entered, thinking, Lady Chelsea, what kind of invitation? He froze. This smell. Inside, Chelsea leisurely poured wine into a glass. "You're a bit late. Come sit." She raised her glass, turning to him. "Lord Damien Haxon." Damien sat at the table and asked Chelsea, "So, why did you call me here?" Chelsea gently swirled her wine glass, replying, "You're quick to get upset, aren't you? How about we talk after the food arrives?" Damien eyed her, pausing briefly before speaking. "I don't want to waste time. Just say it." Hearing this, Chelsea revealed her intent. "Fine, no other way then. I have a condition. Give up the representative position." Damien smirked. "Seems you don't trust Guillermo Blackwing, huh?" Chelsea froze, then retorted, "Don't misunderstand. If Guillermo wields his sword, someone like you is nothing to him." She stared directly at Damien, explaining, "But I'm making this request to preserve our strength for the duel with the Marquis family. It'd be troublesome if we got injured in a pointless fight, right?" Damien thought, she has a point. He asked, "But why should I listen to you? What's in it for me?" Chelsea replied, "If you step down, all your wishes will come true." Damien challenged, "You think you know what I want?" Chelsea scoffed, "A provincial noble like you is obvious. Money, fame, things like that." Damien chuckled inwardly, judging others so arrogantly. He countered, "Wouldn't the Duke offer me better things?" Chelsea advised, "It may seem that way, but think about it. Wouldn't it be wiser to gain favor with the future Duchess?" Her eyes flicked to an hourglass nearly out of sand, continuing to coax, "So, if you understand, go tell my father." As the final grain fell, Chelsea, confident she was about to succeed, ordered, "Say you'll give up." Damien paused, then looked up with a provocative smile. "I don't want to." Chelsea was stunned. "What? That's not how it's supposed to go." Seeing her reaction, Damien thought, "She's shocked I wasn't affected by the soul charm?" He recalled entering the room. Soul charm, a dark magic that creates false emotions to control others. With my past life's knowledge of dark magic, I recognized it before stepping inside. Touching the soul charm aura around him, he smirked. At this concentration, most would become puppets within an hour, but my greed ability absorbed it all. Standing up, he feigned ignorance, asking, "Oh, what did you mean by not supposed to go like this?" Chelsea stammered, "I mean, why refuse me? I said I'd give you everything you want." Damien turned to leave, saying, "I don't need your help. From the start, what I want isn't something you can give." Unconvinced, Chelsea pressed, "What is it? What do you want so badly?" Damien paused, answering, "My family's happiness." Chelsea, surprised, said, "What?" But he ignored her and kept walking. "I'm leaving. Tell Guillermo Blackwing to prepare for the duel." Chelsea bit her lip, then struggled to speak. "Your family must mean a lot to you, huh?" Then let's try another way. Give up the representative role. Standing, she threatened viciously, or I'll make sure the Haxon family is crushed. At those words, Damien, enraged, lunged and grabbed her throat. Chelsea, defiant, gasped, "How dare you touch me?" Facing his fury, she ordered, "Let go." A loud noise prompted two guards to burst in, shouting, "Lady Chelsea, what's that sound?" Seeing the scene, they drew their swords and charged. "How dare you lay a hand on Lady Chelsea?" Damien released her. Chelsea, deprived of air, collapsed. With one swift slash, he struck the guards' throats, knocking them out. Finishing, Damien walked away, leaving them clutching their bleeding wounds in fear. Before leaving, he paused, saying, "The cuts aren't deep. Apply medicine now, and you won't die." Calling her full name, he said, "Chelsea Galapixie, I'd love to slit your throat right here, but that punishment would be too merciful for you. So just wait." He looked at her like prey, smirking, "Something terrible is coming for you next." Then he left. Even after he was gone, Chelsea stared in that direction, trembling. Rebecca rushed in, worried. "Lady Chelsea, are you all right?" Snapping out of her shock, Chelsea erupted in rage. "That bastard dared humiliate me. I'll kill him, no matter what," she shouted, Mustang fury. Mustang appeared instantly. "Yes, I, Mustang Tempest, am here at your call." Chelsea glared at him, furious. What the hell? Why didn't the soul charm work on him? Mustang, scared, replied, "I don't know. In rare cases, some are immune to dark magic. He must be one of them." Chelsea threw her glass at his face, cursing, "Idiot." She continued, "What about Guillermo Blackwing? Where is he?" Mustang answered, "Sir Guillermo is at a tavern. He said he needed to blow off steam after today." Chelsea, enraged, shouted, "The duel is tomorrow, and he's drinking? That lunatic." Turning to Mustang, she demanded, "Are you sure Guillermo can beat Damien Haxon?" Mustang replied, "Absolutely. Sir Guillermo is a masterpiece of Dullen. I've never seen a knight more attuned to dark magic." Reassuring her, he added, "Please be patient, Lady Chelsea. We, Dullen, will ensure the duchy is yours." Still furious, Chelsea threatened Mustang, "You'd better keep your word, or you'll be the first to die." Mustang responded, "Understood. I'll keep that in mind." Outside the restaurant, Damien hadn't left. Standing above the door, he silently overheard their entire conversation. Damien's room was still lit. Victor, exhausted, had dozed off, clutching his weapon tightly. Damien, however, was focused, testing each item meticulously. He couldn't fully concentrate, stunned by the encounter. Those damn dark mages. Piecing things together, he suspected Chelsea Galapixie's connection to dark mages. If so, the energy I sensed from Guillermo must also be dark magic. Damien absent-mindedly flicked his weapon again, the sound echoing repeatedly. The vibration caused Victor's weapon to slip from his grasp without him noticing. Finishing his tests, Damien felt confident and ready for the duel. Between resolving this mess or explaining the situation to the Duke, isn't it best to let him see it for himself? The next day at the arena, a figure entered. Guillermo Blackwing strode in boldly. The crowd buzzed. "That's Guillermo Blackwing." A group whispered, "He looks insanely strong." A long-haired man nearby asked curiously, "Who do you think will win?" Another analyzed, "Based on reputation, Guillermo's got this." The long-haired man had a thought that spooked them all. "So we'll finally be free of that devil Damien Haxon, right? What he did to us 2 days ago." The horrific memory flashed in Pabin's mind, prompting him to mutter, "All I know is he enjoyed it." Pabin didn't hide his feelings. "I want him to lose." But Damien's confident demeanor before the duel made Pabin doubt his wish. "I don't think he'll lose." Ernst silently observed Damien. Now, Damien faced Guillermo Blackwing. Arrogant, Guillermo taunted, "You didn't run?" "Impressive." Unfazed, Damien replied, "What are you babbling about? Did I sleep well last night? My shoulder feels stiff." Guillermo, irked by the response, feigned calm. Adam finally arrived. "Looks like I'm late," he announced. As promised, the winner of today's match will become the representative. Glancing at Chelsea with intent, he added, "I hope everyone accepts this gracefully." She didn't respond, confident in her victory, thinking, "Enjoy it while it lasts, father. Guillermo Blackwing will win." Adam raised a handkerchief as a signal. When this falls, the match begins. The duel started, and Guillermo's weapon glowed with a faint purple light. Spinning it, he advanced, threatening. Damien Haxon, accepting this fight was your mistake. Gripping his weapon tightly, he boasted, I'll show you why they call me the Savage Beast. His axe nearly struck Damien, who calmly tapped his own weapon. A resonating sound echoed through the arena. Guillermo's body reacted, forcing him to retreat swiftly to avoid falling off the stage. That single sound exhausted the supposedly invincible Guillermo, his face twisting. What the hell was that? Chelsea and her maid nearby grew anxious. Adam, intrigued by Damien's move, remarked, a unique skill, wondering inwardly. Guillermo charged again, cursing, Damn knight, what cursed sorcery are you using? Damien kept tapping, the sounds growing more rapid. Now, they attacked not just mentally but physically. Guillermo took the hits, his body growing heavy. Before he could finish speaking, a strike hit his face. The sound created a powerful force, making him spit out black liquid. Wiping his mouth, he cursed, You bastard. But for Damien, the real fight was just starting. Raising his weapon, he said, Playtime's over. A green magical aura radiated from his weapon, now resonating without tapping. Damien plunged his sword into the ground. The sound transformed into shockwaves, surging toward Guillermo. Unable to hold his weapon steady, Guillermo's body emitted dark magic. The crowd gasped in shock. Trying to suppress something, he vomited more black liquid uncontrollably. Adam, watching closely, wondered, why's Guillermo acting like this? Gohimic vaguely realized the truth. Chelsea's face paled with fear. No way. Guillermo, drained, kept spewing the black liquid, which began evaporating. His hair turned white, his once robust hands now withered like dry twigs. Damien approached. Oh, so your true nature's exposed. Moments ago, Guillermo was a robust warrior. Now, after mere minutes, he was a frail, aged husk, too weak to resist. Damien mocked, fake knight. Standing over the collapsed figure, he sneered. So, your true self is revealed. Coldly, he declared, You're a sham knight. Adam, stunned, stammered, a fake knight. The crowd was equally shocked. Holding the 1,000-mile sword, Damien affirmed, Yes. He explained, he enhanced his physical abilities with dark magic. He's a sham knight. The onlookers erupted in discussion. Gohimic, standing nearby, couldn't believe his eyes. That's absurd. He added, If the church hears of this, we'll be in serious trouble. Another chimed in. First, we need to uncover his true identity. Adam, frowning in disbelief, asked loudly, Damien, you already know his true identity? Damien bowed, replying, Yes, forgive me for not informing you sooner. His gaze sharpened, but I held back because I wanted to find the mastermind behind this. Adam's face paled. Mastermind. Mustang rushed forward, declaring boldly, Exactly. He elaborated. Dark mages have infiltrated your estate. He didn't stop there. And the one connected to them, with unwavering certainty, he pointed, is Lady Chelsea. Chelsea recoiled, stammering, Father, I didn't. I knew nothing about this. Adam clenched his jaw, scolding. Looking closely now, I can't deny it anymore. I didn't want to believe it, but how dare you bring such filth into my house? He waved his hand, ordering, Guards, don't just stand there. He shouted, Imprison Chelsea Galapixie and anyone involved, and find the real culprit. Chelsea pleaded, Father, I was wrong. The guards charged forward. Panicking, Chelsea thought, if I'm caught, everything will be exposed. She quickly ordered her men, What are you doing? Protect me. Yes, my lady. A fierce clash ensued. Adam, losing patience, called Gohimic. Coldly, he said, Arrest Chelsea Galapixie immediately, Gohimic. Gohimic bowed and approached her. Chelsea trembled, retreating. A blinding light flashed in his eyes, his expression calm, yet commanding. He bellowed, Step aside. A surge of power radiated from him. Chelsea's men thought, He's a high-tier knight. We can't match this level. Her men shouted, My lady, we'll hold them off. Please escape. Chelsea replied, All right. Gohimic smirked, drawing his sword. What a pity. He swung decisively at her. Chelsea screamed, collapsing to her knees, trembling and gasping. She glanced at her men, who began to waver. Her face filled with horror as they fell heavily before her, making her shriek. Gohimic approached calmly. Chelsea crawled back pitifully, stammering, "Don't come near me." As he closed in, she turned, pleading, "Sir Ernst." Her face on the verge of tears, she begged, "Please, save me. I beg you." Her repeated cries for Ernst made him grit his teeth, heart racing. Thinking quickly, Ernst lunged forward, blocking Gohimic to protect her. Damien, watching from behind, muttered, "Fool." Gohimic spoke. Ernst, a mid-tier knight who's greatly contributed to the duchy's growth. He emphasized, "The Duke values you highly." He reasoned, "But if you insist on protecting Lady Chelsea." Before he could finish, Ernst roared wildly. Gohimic remained calm. "I'll deal with you right here." Ernst's face contorted, deep in thought, before he lowered his head, his weapon slipping from his hand. Chelsea cried out, "Sir Ernst." Guards rushed to seize her. She begged her father, "Father, please listen. I swear I'm innocent. If you give me a chance to explain." Adam cut her off, shouting, "Silence, you useless child." He declared, "Because of your actions, our family faces ruin. You've dragged us all into the mud with you." His voice rose in anguish. "Even now, you only think of your own safety." Coldly, he added, "Bringing you into this family was my greatest mistake." Tears welled in Chelsea's eyes, spilling over. She struggled. "It's not true. Let me go." Adam, unyielding, said, "I can't listen anymore. Guards, silence her and get her out of my sight." Chelsea tried calling out, but the guards gagged her. They dragged her away roughly. Glaring at Damien with fury, she seemed to want to say something but couldn't. The room fell silent. Damien flashed a sinister smile. Days later, in the dungeon, anguished screams echoed. Blows rained down mercilessly on a man, Paban. He groaned, trembling as he spoke. "That's all I know. Just smelling that scent makes people fall for Lady Chelsea." Gohimic, listening, ordered, "Enough. Bring the next one." Understood. Closing his eyes, Gohimic thought. Everything unfolded as expected. Lady Chelsea expanded her influence in the Duke's estate with the help of dark mages. He mused, "Lady Chelsea, why would you do such things?" The scene shifted to Chelsea's solitary cell. She curled up on the floor, trembling. Weakly propping herself up, she shouted furiously, "Damn it!" Clenching her teeth, her face pale, she thought, "Who do you think is to blame? I just wanted to be recognized." She recalled her childhood, to be acknowledged as his daughter, that's all. In her memory, she offered her father a flower crown. "That's all I ever wanted." But Adam callously knocked it away. The crown shattered on the ground, like her young heart. Back in the present, she vividly remembered her father's cold gaze. Biting her lip, tears welled up. "Why do you still look at me with those icy eyes?" she screamed wildly. Outside, a servant brought food. "Lady Chelsea, your meal is here." She stared at the bread with distant eyes. Her hand slowly took it, and she devoured it ravenously. "That's right, I can't let it end like this. No matter the humiliation, I'll survive at all costs." Biting into the bread, her resolve hardened. Outside her cell, a pair of eyes silently watched her. The scene shifted to Damien, walking through a hall, massaging his shoulder with a tired expression. Training at the ruins today is done. A gatekeeper spotted him, calling, "Young master, you're here." Another added, "The Duke summons you." Damien, slightly surprised, entered the room. Adam poured him a glass of red wine, swirling it lightly. "Try this." Damien praised, "Oh, good wine." Adam smiled, "Glad you like it. Not expensive, but it's my favorite." Adam took another sip, savoring it. "Yeah, really great stuff." He offered something else. "This is angel cheese from the Lanko coast, perfect with wine. Try it." Damien accepted, saying, "Oh, thank you." Adam continued, "Regarding Chelsea, I've decided to seek the church's help." Damien, biting into the cheese, replied, "That's surprising. I thought you'd investigate further yourself." Adam nodded, "True. I feel guilty since you've helped me so much." Clutching his head, his voice turned cold. "But all the dark mages have fled." Damien, shocked, asked, "What? Really?" Adam, visibly annoyed, clutched his head again. "Yes, we captured everyone close to Chelsea, but none were dark mages. Still, I thought you should know the situation." Damien thought, "Damn it, they slipped away? I should have intervened earlier." Adam explained, "Still, I don't want the church to suspect us, so we'll leave traces of the dark mages for them. Damien asked, has Chelsea said anything about the dark mages? Adam replied calmly. Even under torture, she won't talk. Stubborn as ever. Finishing his last sip of wine, Adam set the glass down, his expression pensive. She wasn't always like this. He lowered his gaze, preparing to share something. Actually, Chelsea's mother was a commoner. While hunting with knights in my youth, I met her by chance. He continued. Soon after, she became pregnant with Chelsea. At first, I refused to believe a mere mistake led to her carrying my child. I felt humiliated that something so lowly bore my blood. He recalled when Chelsea and her mother came to the estate. So when they showed up, I didn't hesitate to drive them away. Back then, the two were utterly pitiful. In the present, Adam's face showed a hint of regret. As time passed, I grew curious about the child I'd abandoned. He lowered his head. I investigated and learned her mother died of a plague. The child survived alone. Adam drifted into memories. So, I brought her to this estate. Clutching his face, he suddenly laughed. Looking back, it's so unlike me. Why did I do that? Damien interjected. Maybe because, blood or not, she's your family. Adam, cold, retorted, family? Really? Did she truly want that? To be my real family. His face showed disbelief. She probably thought those actions were the only way to earn my recognition. He continued. She could have lived like any noble lady. Abruptly, he laughed. Look at me rambling. The wine must be getting to me. Sorry for making you listen to this nonsense. As his story ended, a voice called from outside. Duke. Duke, are you there? A subordinate rushed in, panicked. Adam asked loudly, what's wrong? Trembling, the man stammered. Something terrible has happened. Lady Chelsea, he faltered, she. Adam's face filled with doubt and disbelief. In the cell, something caused the guards to collapse in fear. Their eyes, wide with terror, reflected a young woman, Chelsea. She had hanged herself, her body limp, the scene utterly horrifying. As Victor walked beside Damien, he grumbled, young master, are you really going to keep doing this? Damien asked, me? Doing what? Victor, clutching a laundry basket, complained, I've told you so many times to sort your laundry properly, especially your underwear. Before undressing, Damien casually replied, is that so? Victor emphasized, you're saying is that so? Do you ever think about the people who have to deal with that mess? He kept nagging, all your socks and stockings are always turned inside out. How do you even take them off like that? At that moment, Damien glanced into Adam's room. He saw the Duke standing by the window, lost in thought. Days had passed since Chelsea Gallipixie's death. Officially, her death was ruled a suicide. The interrogations of those connected to her had concluded. Her crimes had endangered the family, so she was denied a noble's funeral. She was buried in an unmarked grave. The threat looming over the Gallipixie duchy was temporarily resolved. The palace was shrouded in a heavy atmosphere, but the matter wasn't over. Damien's eyes gleamed coldly as he thought, if it's those bastards I know, then surely. Victor's voice interrupted. Young master, are you even listening? Snapping back to reality, Damien slung an arm around him, chuckling. All right, stop nagging, you annoying kid. Victor pouted. Do I look like I'm just nagging? No, it's because you're always like this, even with simple things. That night, under a blood-red moon, Ernst staggered drunkenly through an alley, slamming his back against a wall before slumping to the ground. He muttered, my lady. Memories flooded back. A young Chelsea had asked him, will father be happy if I give him this flower crown? Ernst, scratching his head shyly, replied, I don't know. I've never been given flowers. Holding the crown, Chelsea beamed. Really? But mother said flowers have the power to make people happy. Excited, she added. Plus, these are the flowers that bloomed in the field where father and mother first met. He recalled her innocent, radiant face. Father will definitely be happy, right? Surprised, Ernst had answered, of course. Back in the present, Ernst sat dazed, racked with pain. Trembling, he said, I'm sorry I couldn't protect you, my lady. Sobbing, he pounded his chest in regret. Those bastards. Damn them, he roared. You're the bastard who should have died. I should have protected her. In the quiet night under a full moon, Ernst bowed his head in agony. A voice called from behind. You're here? It was Rebecca. She said, Sir Ernst. He turned, and without a word, pinned Rebecca against the wall, his face full of rage. "You vile woman, how dare you? Because of you, my lady." Rebecca, struggling under his grip, weakly said, "Please, Sir Ernst, listen to me." He shouted frantically, "Shut up, you filthy dark mage, conspiring with demons. I'll snap your neck right now." Rebecca cried, "Please help me get revenge." Ernst, stunned, asked, "What did you say?" "Revenge," she replied. "The truth about Lady Chelsea's death. The Duke says it was suicide, but it wasn't." She insisted, "My lady died because she couldn't endure the pain." Ernst released her, demanding, "What proof do you have to say that?" Rebecca explained, "Think about it, Sir Ernst." She analyzed. Was Lady Chelsea really weak enough to take her own life? You know she wasn't. She continued, "More importantly, I heard from those who handled her body. There were signs of torture, wounds so severe no ordinary person could endure, covering her entire body. With injuries like that, it's clear she died from being tortured." Ernst clutched his head in anguish. Rebecca added, "The Duke fabricated her suicide to cover his crimes." Ernst exclaimed, "I see," but hesitated, thinking, "Wait, I might be wrong. The Duke I know always cared for others." Rebecca bowed. "It's true I approached my lady deliberately, but she treated me like a sister." Ernst, helpless and pained, listened as she continued, "I can't let this go." She vowed, "I'll avenge whoever harmed my lady." Taking his hand, she emitted a seductive aura. "To do that, I need your help, Sir Ernst." She blew a mist into his face. Entranced, he mumbled, "What must I do?" Dropping his bottle, he staggered forward. Behind Rebecca, a voice said, "Good thing it worked, Mustang." He rejoiced. "I was worried the charm wouldn't work since he's mid-tier." Rebecca bowed. "No matter how strong, everyone has a weakness in their heart, right? Once it's exposed, magic can erode it easily." He analyzed. For Ernst, his weakness is Chelsea Gollopixie. Rebecca grinned wickedly. "Let's keep things vague. We don't even know who really killed Chelsea." Arrogantly, she added, "If I frame it as an assassination, the masses will go wild, won't they?" Recalling Chelsea's attempted assassination, she turned, asking, "But Commander, do we really have to face Damien Haxon? He's far beyond our level." Mustang retorted, "What? We just sit and watch." Pointing, he said, "Didn't the church's investigation confirm he killed her?" He continued, "Plus, he interfered with a mission entrusted by the Duke himself. That's unforgivable." He declared, "Damien Haxon doesn't know who we are. The Duke's guard is down, thinking we've vanished." They laughed sinisterly. "Let's seize this chance. They'll target Damien and kill him at all costs." Mustang reiterated, "Damien Haxon doesn't know us." The Dukes relaxed, thinking we're gone. Grinning wickedly, they said, "Seize this opportunity. They'll focus on Damien and kill him no matter what." In the palace hall, Damien was training. Suddenly, shadowy figures emerged behind him, followed by a swift gust that extinguished the candle. They lunged at his back. Their swords slashed down where he sat, but Damien had already teleported. Gripping his sword, he soared into the air, saying, "What a pity." He struck fiercely at his assailants. One was sent flying. Another crashed face first into the ground, trembling. The latter looked up, grinding his teeth in fury. The three ambushers were Damien's students, thoroughly beaten. Arrogantly resting his sword on his shoulder, Damien sneered, "Pathetic. No matter what you do, even ambushing me, you still can't manage." They replied dejectedly, "We're sorry." Damien added, "No choice. Today's training," his students trembled, "we're dead." But he continued, "Ends here." Surprised, they looked up. "Huh? You're stopping?" He replied, "Didn't you want more practice?" They hurriedly said, "No, we're fine without extra training." They thought, why is he acting strange? Usually, he'd use training as an excuse to thrash us. Damien said coldly, "I said rest. The duel with the Marquis's family is in 2 days." He announced, "No more training from today. Rest for the next 2 days and reflect on what I've taught you." The students held their breath, recalling fearfully what he taught us. Wasn't he just beating us senseless? Damien sighed, thinking, no one gets what I'm trying to do. He mused, my training isn't just about physical conditioning, it's for something else. Though it seemed unnoticed, he glanced at a pensive student. Maybe someone's starting to understand. Smiling slightly, He removed his training gear and left, thinking, I can look forward to this duel. At the Green Plains, Adam led his troops, exclaiming, we're a bit late. This is the Galapixie camp. Turning to Damien, he asked, Lord Haxon, how do they look? Damien replied calmly, overall, a high-caliber force. As they advanced, he added, not just their equipment. Each soldier has impressive skill. Adam chuckled, really? That fool Lionbloom's only talent is training soldiers. Smirking, he laughed. Gohimic spoke from behind. My lord, the Marquis's envoy has arrived. They propose a meeting before the battle. Adam replied, is that so? They must feel the pressure. Gripping his reins tightly, he grinned. All right, let's go. In the Lionbloom camp, a voice shouted, Michael, get up. A man stormed into the tent, kicking him. We're meeting the Duke's side. How long are you going to sleep? Michael sat up slowly. Father, you're too loud. He snapped, what? Michael said casually. Why wake me during such a good nap? Pulling the blanket back, he lay down. Furious, his father said, you brat, do you know how crucial your role is in this duel? Grinding his teeth, he swallowed his anger and left. Fine, no choice. I'll face that Damien myself. Michael bolted up. Wait, who's the Duke's representative? His father explained. You were asleep, so you didn't hear. They chose Damien Haxon. Michael, shocked, said really? Grabbing his sword, he grinned. Perfect. On the grassy plain, the families met. Adam chided, inviting us and arriving late, still as rude as ever. Hamlin, arms crossed, retorted, you're getting mad for no reason. Still as petty as always, huh? Tensions flared before the fight. Gohimic coughed. Hamlin greeted, Sir Gohimic, long time no see. He replied, indeed. Hamlin added, aren't you bored with the Duke? I told you to join us. Gohimic said, I've dedicated my life to the Galapixie family. Hamlin laughed, what a waste. A jewel thrown to pigs. Adam thought angrily, that bastard. Hamlin turned to Damien. So this is him? Adam introduced, yes, this is Damien Haxon. Hamlin frowned, thinking, he's the one who did that to my son and knights. If I get the chance, I'll. Looking at Damien's face, his grip tightened, uneasy. Why do I feel so unsettled by his belligerent look? Could a lowlife like him make me, an elite, nervous? He pondered, is it his hidden potential? He might even rival Michael. He shouted, Michael, step forward. Michael approached, calling, Damien Haxon. Damien looked at him, puzzled. Michael grinned wickedly, ready to attack, drawing his sword in front of Damien. But his father, Hamlin, stopped him. Hold it, Michael. Confused, Michael asked, what's that about? Gohimic spoke, Sir Michael, what's this? Drawing your sword before the Duke, right before the duel. Adam said coldly, you know pointing a sword at a noble is a grave crime, don't you? Hamlin quickly said, my son acted foolishly, just childish impulsiveness. Adam smirked. You think you can brush it off that easily? How will you take responsibility? Michael thought, damn, trouble. Did my body react on its own? He felt like he was facing a wild beast. Adam, propping his chin, said, but this is a good opportunity. He continued, honestly, I'd cancel the duel, but I'll let this slide. Hamlin, surprised, asked, really? Thinking, strange, that old fox doesn't let things go easily. Adam went on. Instead, with a sly grin, he waved, I'll add some conditions to the duel. Hamlin clicked his tongue. I knew it. He asked, conditions? What do you want? Adam's smile turned sinister. The scene shifted. Hamlin gritted his teeth. Fine, he shouted. I accept all the conditions. Turning to leave, he said, let's go, Michael. Michael replied, yes. Adam waved provocatively, don't be late. See you. Damien thought, what a formidable man, using that moment to force conditions. Adam turned to him. By the way, why did Michael Lionbloom suddenly draw his sword at you? Damien shrugged. Who knows? He smiled cryptically. Michael Lionbloom. Has he awakened his sixth sense at that age? Thinking of him, Damien said, impressive. He concluded, this duel will be very interesting. As they walked, Hamlin asked, why did you draw your sword? You put our family in danger. Michael replied, Father, didn't you see? Turning, he explained, Damien Haxon. He knew I'd draw my sword, yet he stood there smiling calmly. Excited, he said, I've never faced an opponent like him. He might be my equal. Hamlin observed. That boy's eyes have changed. He's always been bored, lacking worthy opponents. Michael scratched his head, asking, "Oh, what about the disadvantageous conditions I caused?" Hamlin thought. Now he thinks of it, idiot. He said gently, "Why worry?" Arrogantly, he declared, "Victory will belong to the Lion Bloom family." The day of the duel arrived. Both armies assembled. The Lion Bloom side announced, "Let's begin the first match." Knights from both sides stepped to the center. They added, "As the opening match, seizing the initiative is crucial." Adam calmly asked, "Lord Damien, who should we send?" Damien replied, "In this case, I think." A voice interrupted, "My lord, please let me nominate first." Adam turned, exclaiming, "Oh, Sir Vincenzo." Vincenzo, walking forward, said, "I'm the knight's trainer, Chief Knight Sebastian Vincenzo." He continued, "Compared to Lord Damien, I can suggest someone far more suitable." Damien thought, so, the mid-tier knight. Looking at his students behind, they're so fired up, even dragging that kid along. But I get hungry when I'm nervous. He noted, the one who trained Bravo and those kids. Observing, Damien judged Vincenzo's cautious demeanor, concluding, I won't steal his spotlight. Let's give him some face. He said, "Good suggestion. Why not let Sir Vincenzo choose the first fighter?" Adam replied, "If you say so, let's do it." "Who's first, Vincenzo?" He smiled, "Yes, my lord." A spear slammed into the ground. A figure in armor stepped forward. "This is the first arena knight of the Vincenzo family, Fabian Vincenzo." He looked at Damien, "Leave it to me. I'll win spectacularly and regain the Duke's favor." Adam smiled, "Vincenzo's son, huh? I've heard he's highly skilled. I hope he wins." The other side sent their fighter, surprising Damien. Approaching was a sturdy cavalry knight, the first arena knight of the Lion Bloom family, Jonan. Both sides took offensive stances. The first match began. Fabian shouted, "I'm Fabian, of the Vincenzo family." The other replied, "Jonan, no surname." Fabian asked, "What?" "A commoner." Clenching his teeth, he said, "A mere commoner dares to fight me?" Jonan smirked, "So noisy. Seems all the Duke's knights bicker like women." Fabian, enraged, shouted, "What? You insolent cur." Charging forward swiftly, Fabian yelled, "I'll show you the difference in class." Damien commented, "Sir Fabian struck first." The two clashed relentlessly. Fabian's strikes were dodged, frustrating him as he attacked Jonan frantically. Jonan scoffed, "Pathetic." Fabian roared, "Lowly scum." He slashed at Jonan, but Jonan dodged, circling behind. Blood sprayed. Adam watched, stunned. Vincenzo clutched his head in shock. Jonan sheathed his sword, saying, "Class, huh?" Pointing, he declared, "You're done." Hamlin's lips curled into a smug smile. The first match ended with the Lion Bloom family victorious. After the defeat, Fabian was immediately taken to the rear by the medical team to begin treatment. His father followed closely, offering words of encouragement. "Hang in there, Fabian." But those words barely registered. He continued to scream in agony. Damien glanced at him, thinking to himself, I expected as much, but this guy's weakness is just pathetic. Nearby, Adam gently rubbed his forehead, muttering, "Those Lion Bloom bastards. They didn't just want to win this match, they even severed a man's arm." Then he turned to Damien and asked, "Lord Damien, what do we do now? We've already lost the first of the 3 matches. Isn't it your turn to fight next?" Damien, maintaining his calm demeanor, responded, "If I go out and win, and then Michael appears in the final match, there'll be no one left to deal with him." Hearing this, Adam stroked his chin, nodding in agreement. "That's true," he said. But then he made a suggestion. "However, my lord, I've thought of someone suitable for the second match." At this, Adam's face lit up with excitement, and he asked, "Really? Who is it?" Damien then approached Pable's position. Pable's entire body trembled with fear as he stammered, Forgive me. Is it me?" Damien turned, walking away, and said encouragingly, "That's right. No need to dwell on those beatings you took during training." Pable tried to say something, but Damien cut him off. "Don't worry. You'll definitely pull through." 2 of Pable's comrades chimed in, cheering him on. "We believe in you. One for all for one." Hearing that Pable was chosen, Adam raised a concern. "Since you, Lord Damien, have nominated him, I'll allow it. But are you sure? Pable has never been particularly outstanding. Damien flashed a confident smile and replied, Don't worry, my lord. I've trained him specifically for this moment. He will win. Meanwhile, Pable was overwhelmed with fear to the point of nausea, prompting his teammates to say with concern, You okay? Eat this to calm your nerves. Then, he stepped onto the battlefield to begin the second match. His entire body shook with fear as thoughts raced through his mind. I'm out here because there's no other choice, but Suddenly, he recalled the moment Fabian's arm was severed in the previous match, causing his lips to twitch nervously. In stark contrast to his fear, Pable's opponent exuded confidence. Drawing his sword, he introduced himself boldly. My name's Huey. And you are? His overwhelming confidence made Pable mutter to himself, Just one look, and I can tell this guy's way stronger than me. Stammering, he replied, I'm Pable. Hearing this, Huey scoffed. Damn it, I thought I'd be fighting Damien. What a letdown. But then he steeled himself. Whatever, I'll end this quickly and claim the victory. The pressure from his opponent made Pable's expression deadly serious. I have to focus, or else. Before he could react, Huey gripped his sword tightly and charged, aiming a strike at Pable's throat. With a single basic swing, Huey sent Pable sprawling to the ground. Looking down at him, Huey taunted, You blocked my strike? You're better than I thought. Feeling something unusual stirring within him, Pable stared at his sword and said, This feeling, could it be? Then he wondered, was that just luck? Huey's silhouette appeared reflected in Pable's blade, causing his eyes to widen. Instantly, he rolled to the side, dodging a direct slash from Huey. Pable slid back several meters, using his hand to brace himself and maintain balance, staring ahead into a cloud of dust. Then, from within, a burst of sword energy shot toward him. Huey charged, delivering a slash aimed at Pable's side. But with quick reflexes, Pable raised his sword and blocked the attack. Seeing this, Huey's eyes widened in surprise. He blocked that too? That was a strike from his blind spot. After a fierce exchange, both fighters stepped back, keeping their distance. Pable, panting from exhaustion, muttered, No way. What's happening? Is this why Damien believed I'd win? From behind, Damien watched the fight with his arms crossed, a confident smile spreading across his face. Yes, you're finally realizing it, aren't you? The swordsmanship I used to train him was the iconic technique of the Lionbloom family, the great master's sword art. After being battered by it countless times, his body instinctively learned how to counter it. By now, he can probably sense an opponent's attack even with his eyes closed. At that moment, Pable closed his eyes, recalling Damien's earlier words. Instantly, he dodged to the side, evading Huey's incoming strike. Observing this, he muttered, Same style, but slower. Damien's on a completely different level. In his mind, he added, Thank you, Lord Damien. Because of you, I've seen a new level ahead of me. Now brimming with confidence, Pable was ready to face his opponent head-on. After a prolonged clash, Pable stepped back a few paces, gripping his sword tightly. Charging forward, he declared, Today, I'll surpass myself. This sword will pierce the heavens. With a single, resolute strike fueled by all his determination, Pable's blade came within inches of Huey's throat, leaving Huey stunned. A scratch from Pable's sword marked Huey's face. Witnessing this, everyone watching was shocked, except for Damien, who maintained his confident smile. On the opposing side, Hanlon's jaw dropped in disbelief, while Michael, standing nearby, remained eerily calm. Back in the arena, Huey collapsed to the ground, trembling with fear. Pable approached, pointing his sword at Huey's throat, and declared, This is my victory. As those words rang out, the soldiers behind him erupted in cheers, chanting his name. Slightly embarrassed, Pable rubbed his nose and laughed. I did it, haha. Thus, the second match was won by Gold Pixie. On the other side, the final contender, Michael, stepped forward. Laughing loudly, he said, Haha, he lost? Huey seemed stronger, and yet he still lost. Seeing Michael appear, Adam muttered to himself, The final match, it's really him. Michael radiated an intense aura as he confidently strode forward, saying, In the end, this battle between us will decide it all, right? He smirked and called out, Damien Haxon. Damien responded with a confident smile, stepping forward and replying, "Yes, this is what I wanted from the start. It's the very reason I exist." At this, Michael laughed heartily. "Haha, fantastic. I've waited so long to meet someone like you. A worthy opponent who can fight me on equal footing." The corner of Damien's mouth curled into a cryptic smile as he replied, "Worthy? Don't make me laugh." Michael slowly drew his sword, his tone turning serious as he said, "Don't disappoint me in this fight." Without hesitation, he pointed his blade and charged at Damien. The scene shifts to a few minutes earlier at the Lion Bloom family camp. Huey knelt, head bowed, and pleaded, "Please, just kill me." In response to his resolute demeanor, Hamlin encouraged him, "Stand up. You did your best. They were simply stronger." As Huey tried to speak, Hamlin cut him off. "Besides, the final victory will be ours, because we have." As he spoke, he glanced at his son, who was wearing a confident smile. Huey nodded in agreement. "You're right, my lord." Hearing this, Hamlin ordered, "All right, go rest." Watching Huey's retreating figure, Hamlin thought to himself, "Strange, though. Huey is stronger than a knight of a ducal family, 2, maybe 3 levels stronger. Yet it felt like all his attacks were predicted. The Great Master's sword art is exclusive to our family, so it couldn't have been leaked. If that's the case, could it be?" At that moment, Michael, trembling with excitement, spoke up. "I've never been this thrilled in my life. I've finally found someone like me. I will defeat him and bring back victory." With that, he charged forward, ready to fight. Watching his son's back, Hamlin smiled and said, "That's right, Michael. Go out there and savor this battle." Recalling his childhood, when he first learned swordsmanship from his father, Michael had been ecstatic. Back then, he was filled with anticipation, wondering how many mighty warriors existed in the world. But over time, his expectations and excitement faded. Even when facing knights rumored to be the strongest, they amounted to nothing. Victory came to him effortlessly. Looking at the blood-soaked sword in his hand, Michael coldly muttered, "How dull." In the end, he even wiped his sword clean on that battlefield. But now, the one standing before him was Damien Haxon. Calmly stepping forward, Michael raised his sword, smiling as he said, "I hope you don't disappoint me." His blade was mere millimeters from Damien's eyes, but with a swift tilt of his head, Damien dodged the thrust. This unexpected reaction sent a surge of excitement across Michael's face. He quickly spun his sword, slashing horizontally at Damien's throat once more. Unfazed, Damien swung his hand upward, knocking Michael's sword away to the latter's astonishment. Before Michael could react, Damien lunged, delivering a kick aimed at his chest. Fortunately, with his own considerable speed, Michael raised his sword to block the kick. Still, the force pushed him back, sliding across the ground. Yet a delighted smile lingered on his lips. Slamming his hand into the earth, he propelled himself toward Damien, resuming his attack. His movements were frenzied, unleashing a barrage of direct thrusts at Damien. But then, Michael's eyes froze for a moment. He realized none of his attacks had inflicted any damage. "My attacks were blocked that easily?" he exclaimed inwardly. Suddenly, a sinister smile curled his lips. As expected, "My eyes didn't deceive me. You truly are the strongest." With all his strength, he gripped his sword tightly and charged at Damien again. Just as his attack was about to land, a massive explosion erupted in front of Damien, causing Michael's eyes to widen. As the dust settled, Damien stood calmly in the battlefield, utterly unshaken. Seeing this, Michael grinned and said in a low voice, "How long will you keep dodging? Draw your sword. Make this fight more thrilling." With that, he leaped high, thrusting his sword toward Damien's head. The move prompted Damien to lightly touch the sword at his hip. Michael's face lit up with excitement. "You're done. My sword will reach you first." But just as his blade neared Damien's head, a strange green light emanated from Damien, catching Michael off guard. In an instant, Damien unleashed a single slash, effortlessly pushing back both Michael and his sword. Michael's body stiffened, his eyes filled with shock as he stared at his opponent. In front of him, his head was severed, his body collapsing. His head hit the ground with a dull thud, and in its final moments of consciousness, he gasped, "What just happened?" Gradually, the scene before him cracked and shattered completely. It was all a dream. Michael was kneeling, slumped on the ground. This enraged Hamlin, who shouted, "What are you doing? Get up and draw your sword. Michael's body trembled with fear as he muttered to himself. What the hell was that? I'm sure I died. Damien's voice cut through his thoughts. You're still groveling there? You think you're worthy of being my opponent? Under the overwhelming pressure Damien exuded, sweat poured down Michael's face. Stammering, he said, was it all an illusion? Then, bowing his head, he declared, I've lost. It was a swift victory for Damien, without breaking a sweat. The final match, the third battle, belonged to Gold Pixie.